Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park. It's time for the last round of main events in the 2022 U.S. Pro Kart Series season, and the KA100 Junior Division presented by Timmy Tech is set to kick us off. My name's Xander Clemens at the booth. Alongside me, Randy Kugler. We've been treated to a day and a half's worth of fantastic racing action. What better way to send off the season than a 50-driver main event grid for the first of 7 classes to run? Ernesto Rivera and Caleb Gaffera will make up row 1. Elio Meza, Parker DeLong, row 2. Luke Powers, Max Taylor, Christian Cameron, Max Garcia, Oliver Weldon, and Cooper Shipman, your top 10. They are all lined up, a picture-perfect start with a little bit of pushing and shoving. But here we go. We're green down to turn number 1, and we're underway as around the outside, Caleb Gaffera rolls the top side and gets to the lead through turns 1 and 2. Rivera drops in line to second. Cooper Shipman is into third, although a little pop there on the curbing for Rivera cost him some momentum. Here comes Cooper Shipman for second into turn 5. They'll all block. It's going to give Caleb Gaffera a massive lead to the horseshoe.
They really played into Gaffera's hands. As you said, Rivera jumped the curb in turn 1 on the start on the inside, and Gaffera ran to the outside and took the lead. And now we've got to pass for second. Oh, we got 2 or 3 off.
Contact over there. A number of cars collected outside the field. That is going to be the 840 Cosmic, one of the Iron Rock Motorsports Tony karts involved as well. Not sure who we've lost out there, but this is all happening long behind the leader, Caleb Gaffera. It is a massive lead already for all this shuffling. A huge lead to begin. Elio Meza, my mistake with driver slotted into second. He's able to hold that spot as Max Garcia gets by Ernesto Rivera for third. And the chase is on down the front straightaway. 16 laps, make it 15 laps to go. Here's the rest of the field. Caleb Gaffera across the line. A 2.6-second gap here at the end of lap 1 as they go 3 wide with Cooper Shipman down for 5th.
How in the world is that possible on one lap? Caleb Gaffera, a 2.6-second advantage over Meza, Garcia, Rivera, and DeLong. So Caleb Gaffera, he was on fire yesterday, just really running strong. And here he is today. He's got a 2.6-second advantage. The battle right now for second. Now it's a long race. It's, I believe, a 16-lapper, so 18 lappers. So we've got plenty of racing ahead of us. 16 laps actually for KA100 Junior. But right now, they're going to have to get dialed in if they want to run down Caleb Gaffera. He's clean and green out there in first, 2.6 seconds ahead of second place, Elio Meza.
Yeah, it really was a big gift, kind of unintentionally given by the field, obviously, but it kicked off with Ernesto Rivera. He dropped a tire on the third corner of the first lap, and then from there had to block to hold his position. He blocked so much, cost the field so much time that Gaffera was able to get away. Now, Rivera is quick. He started on the front row, was up with Gaffera in the early stages of the pre-final as well. Elio Meza into second is going to get some help from behind, but he's slower than Gaffera at the moment. In fact, that lap still was quickest for the 804 of Caleb G. So 2.9 seconds now, a 3-second lead. If they work together, they might be able to run him down, but they'll need to sort their differences quickly. So whether it's Ernesto Rivera leading the way forward or Elio Meza, either way, they've got to get going and get going fast. With the gift they've given Caleb Gaffera, he's going to be able to run with it and manage a gap like that. You could expend 0.2 a lap, and they still would not arrive on time.
0.3 of a second advantage on the last lap for Caleb Gaffera. So he went from 2.6 to a 2.9-second gap. And it doesn't appear there's any sign of him letting up. Meza, Rivera, Garcia, and Shipman, they're all battling for that second spot. But there's a lot of karts out there from second on back to about 12th or 13th that are not all that far apart. So the second place is still up for grabs, but right now Caleb Gaffera is owning the lead.
Yeah, he's got a comfortable margin. We'll see what the lap times look like this time. Meza's now going to get some drafting help from Rivera. Rivera, a little mistake there in the I-70 corner. He'll pull to the bumper. Will he push him? Will he go for second himself? It looks like he'll stay in line, and they'll work together to try and hunt down Gaffera. And that time, well, they at least held even, knocked off about 0.5 tenth. If they stay hooked up, it's a chance they could get there, but they've all got to remain lined up to run down Caleb Gaffera. 2.8 seconds that time by. Parker DeLong was ripping pretty quick. He was about 7 tenths better than Caleb G. As we watch Cooper Shipman battle with Max Garcia. It's the last thing this pack needs, but maybe he thinks he's a little bit quicker than Garcia and quicker than the rest of the field where he can move his way up. We've seen some races this year where the Iron Rock teammates of Cooper Shipman and Elio Meza have worked together really well. And now Max Garcia getting eaten up as Parker DeLong goes by, as does Max Taylor for 5th, 6th, and 7th. And off the racetrack, That was Max Taylor going off for a ride. So we cut back to the front of the group and maybe side by side for him and Max Garcia. I'm not sure. Now Taylor's getting the business from Christian Cameron. So lots of shuffling here in the opening stages, and Max Taylor gets bit by it.
Last lap, they were equal to Caleb Gaffera, so they've at least gotten back to where they can run equal to him. Now they've got a gain on him. That three-car draft, second, third, and fourth, as they head down the I-70 straight, may have a chance. It was a 2.9-second gap the last lap. This lap, it is 2.7, so a 0.2 of a second gain on that last lap. There may be hope for that second group, Xander.
It was good, but then right as you mentioned that, and Ernesto Rivera passed Elio Meza at the end of the straightaway. So Cooper Shipman now moves up into third. Meza back to fourth. Again, Rivera was our outside front row starter. Maybe he's even quicker than Meza. Meza leading the train was 0.2 better, like you said, than Gaffera. Maybe he's a little bit better. So with the update on the championship right now, as they come into this one, Elio Meza, part of the reason you might have seen the Cooper Shipman and Elio Meza train shuffling Max Garcia back early is Elio Meza enters this event with drops, 18 points to the good over Max Garcia. That is not a big margin. They're racing for the championship. The more points Elio Meza scores as he goes by Ernesto Rivera, and the less points Max Garcia scores, the safer they are.
So it's not just about racing Caleb Gaffera for the lead, but they're also racing a championship second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth through those positions, crossing the stripe one more time, and Caleb Gaffera is not letting up. Last lap, the gap was 2.7. This lap, it is 3.1, so he gains back 0.4 of a second. No hope right now for that second group. They've got to race each other for the championship.
Yeah, they're not focused on Gaffera at this point. My mistake there is getting updates. So that 18-plus advantage for Meza, that's as they ran. Meza into the second spot, Garcia down the order. Garcia's back up to sixth now, digging to get to this grouping behind him, between the two of them, Parker DeLong and Ernesto Rivera. So Elio Meza's got Cooper Shipman, his teammate, behind him that might play blocker to try and keep Max Garcia back behind, because Garcia's got to get up there after his run yesterday. It's him versus Elio Meza for this KA Junior title. I'm not sure they're worried at all about surrendering this race win to Caleb Gaffera. For Elio Meza, he wants to just put as many go-karts as he can between himself and that kid right there, the MPG Motorsports Will Power Car to Max Garcia. So, well, from a viewer standpoint, we'd love to see that group work together and run down Caleb G. I doubt that's anywhere in the focal point right now for the 827 of Elio Meza, who is in second and leading that second group.
Heading down the Long Pond Straight, Caleb Gaffera now with a 2.9. They gained a little bit back now as they stayed in line. They did gain back that 0.2 of a second. Part of what they lost on the lap before. So we're looking at Garcia in second in the 827 and in sixth, and in the 827 Elio Meza. Those are the two battling for the championship. Right now, Meza is in front by 4 positions over Garcia. So we'll see how that sorts out. Long ways to go in this one. But right now, Caleb Gaffera in command. A 3-second advantage over second place Elio Meza.
And it's tricky to calculate as Garcia lost his spot to Oliver Weldon, then just got it back with help from Christian Cameron. If he can get up there to that group, they've at least shuffled Cooper Shipman back, but now Christian Cameron goes by Garcia. That's about another 5-point swing in the favor of Elio Meza. Move that point deficit to 23 over Max Garcia for this U.S. Pro Kart Series KA Junior National title. Again, Meza, if he gets to Gaffera, that's a 25-point boost if somehow he was able to win this thing. So Garcia's got to get going. Right now, the pace doesn't look too good for the 759 or the 859, but here comes Ernesto Rivera with help from Parker DeLong. They are going to freight train Elio Meza. It's going to keep the gap relatively even to Gaffera at 3 seconds. 9 to go here this time by. And you got two drivers now not involved in the points fight. They don't care about the fact that Elio Meza is trying to stay ahead of Max Garcia. That pass right there evens things back down a little bit. Now there's only 2 karts between Meza and Garcia, and the points, they're kind of exponential as you go higher up on the field. So the further back he drops, the closer and closer he becomes to Garcia, but it's a bigger swing from 5th to 1st than it would be from 5th to 10th. At this point, I think it's almost heads up here by what I can guesstimate the calculations would be.
You got to believe Max Garcia is licking his chops right now. If they keep racing in front of him, he catches up to him, he can actually race Ernesto Rivera or Elio Meza rather, and try to go for the championship. And that's what he wants. He's got time to get there. don't think they've got time to get to Caleb Gaffera if Caleb Gaffera can keep it green, and Lady Luck will be on his side. He is really staring at the win right now, but we've got a long ways to go. We're actually halfway home, so we got 8 laps in, 8 laps to go. Gap is still 3 seconds, so a good steady pace out there by Caleb Gaffera. Ernesto Rivera runs second, Parker DeLong third, Meza fourth, Cooper Shipman runs fifth. Max Garcia back in seventh. Try to reel that first group in, but hasn't been too successful at it. He just can't quite get close enough to be able to pounce.
So at least here again in Max Garcia's case right now, Meza running fourth, Garcia coming into the running in seventh. He's gotten himself to the lead of that group, so he's now up to six ahead of Cooper Shipman, ahead of Christian Cameron. Cameron on the OTK back in that seventh spot. Oliver Weldon back in eighth on the Lando Norris kart for JC Karting. And they'll come to the line this time by to get to 7 laps to go. Already 9 laps into this one. Ernesto Rivera, Parker DeLong, they're just trying to get away from Meza and Cooper Shipman at this point. The chances of them catching Caleb Gaffera are pretty much out the window. 7 laps and a 3-second margin, all given on that first lap, a 2.6-second advantage for Caleb Gaffera. Sometimes that's how these races end up fanning out with especially some of the lesser experienced junior drivers that'll fight a little bit too hard for second or third and allow the leaders to get the single leader to get away. They picked off 2/10 that time by, still won't be enough. If they got 3 or 4 tenths a lap, you could make the argument because as soon as they get to 1.2 seconds, 1 second away, Randy, then that closing rate will be accelerated by getting the draft off of Caleb.
Well, it would, but they've got a ways to go to get there, and I got to believe Gaffera right now is pacing himself. We got to pass for third as Meza works his way around Parker DeLong and takes over that third spot. DeLong back to fourth. So Elio Meza is getting a little bit closer to that second spot, which will help him in points. Max Garcia has moved up 1. He's up to 6th. We've got some movers in the field. Cooper Shipman started in 10th. He's up to 5th, so 5 places for Cooper Shipman. Eli Warren's moved up 4 spots. Jake James has moved up 7 spots to 15th, so good run out there by Jake James. But right now, a 2.8-second advantage for Caleb Gaffera as they round I-70 and head down the pond straight towards turn 1. It's Caleb Gaffera, your leader, and the gap is now 2.6 seconds. So about 0.2 of a second a lap, but that's just not enough time for them to make up at 0.2 of a second. I just don't believe they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it'll be really tough. At the minimum right now, them going as quick as they are is making it tricky still for Garcia, Weldon, and Cameron to get there. They're sitting about 0.6 back from this grouping. Meza leading the train, having gone by now Ernesto Rivera to take over second. And the points go back in the favor of the 827 of Elio Meza for this championship. Rivera even had a little look down the inside and coming out of the cell tower. Didn't do it. So for Elio Meza, doing what he needs to do is Parker DeLong tries to keep Cooper Shipman at bay, and they're all stacked up. Here comes Max Garcia back into the mix. Shipman blocks a little bit. Garcia down to the inside, and Shipman got caught off guard so bad, he knocked Parker DeLong out of the way in the scoreboard corner. Garcia gets 2 spots there.
Max Garcia should be up to about 5th spot right now, so he's closing in on Meza, and we'll see if Garcia's got anything for him. That will make things a little more exciting here as we actually have an on-track championship battle for the overall win right now as we watch this final wind down in KA100 Junior. 3.5 seconds as they race in that second group. The gap continues to grow for Caleb Gaffera.
And that gap will, that landscape will continue to change. I think we're now in the point where it might go back in the favor of Max Garcia, but it'd be close. Meza running second. That's 175 points to Garcia in fourth, getting 140 in theory. So a 35-point advantage in this race for Elio Meza. I don't have the sheet in front of me at the moment, but I'll see if I can get something together to calculate where they are here for the championship standings with just 4.5 laps to go. And now Garcia's got a little gap to make up to Meza and Ernesto Rivera. They pulled away a little bit from him, maybe 5 or 6 car lengths.
They keep in line as we head down for lap number 12. So it's winding this one down, 16 laps. It'll be 4 to go next time by. It's Caleb Gaffera through the top 10. Elio Meza runs second. Ernest Rivera third. Max Garcia fourth. Cooper Shipman runs in fifth. Through the top 10 and 6 is Parker DeLong. Seventh is Christian Cameron. Eighth, Oliver Weldon. Ninth, Max Taylor. And Cooper O'Clair make up the top 10. through turn 1. Everything stays the same. Elio Meza, Ernesto Rivera, and Max Garcia, second, third, and fourth. Garcia is right there, ready to pounce. Only about 3 kart lengths behind Rivera. If he can get around Rivera, he can challenge and race Max Garcia. But will he be able to do it? Through turn 4, now up towards the back part of the course by the cell tower. They're going to be looking at 3 laps to go next time by. And Caleb Gaffera out for literally a Sunday drive as he's got a 3.8 second advantage over the field. But Elio Meza hanging on to a championship by his fingernails. Ernesto Rivera, Max Garcia, and Parker along in tow. Garcia wants to get around Rivera and race Elio Meza for the championship. And right now he still has about 3 kart lengths to do that.
Just got word I was a little misinformed. Ernesto Rivera second, and DeLong ends in fifth in the last couple hundred feet, and that might have been the difference of a championship. 8 rounds of racing, Randy, coming down to the last 200 feet of the season.
Crossing the stripe for a championship. How about that for competition here in the U.S. Pro Kart Series? Obviously, all this is unofficial. We'll get the official points tally here when we can, but we know it was awfully close. So an amazing finish. And how about a call out to Caleb Gaffera, making the most of his opportunity on the start. Took off, got a nice clean start. They raced a little bit behind him, and that's all it took to get that 3-second gap, and he never looked back.
Yeah, he did a smart job getting away early, and mainly in the first couple corners, noticing that he had enough of a gap. He didn't have to go low, go offline and block and cost himself time. He took the normal line through 5 through 6 and into the cell tower, hairpin, and beyond. And by doing so, that's what opened that gap up while they blocked and raced behind him. Ultimately, Gaffera, a main event winner once again here on the U.S. Pro Kart Series. A bit of a bittersweet ending to his KA Junior Championship campaign, but he got an outside shot at the X30 Junior title, depending on how Aiden Ingrata and Max Garcia fare in today's main event. We'll be back with more action from Newcastle Motorsports Park. You're watching Kart Chasers coverage of the Heartland Grand Prix. USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com. All right, welcome back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park. The Micros are onto the racetrack for their main event here, their final of the season. It was a close battle in the KA Junior division. It's a relatively close one in Micro as well. Marco Samet's on the point. Royce Vega to the outside of the front row. They're coming into the tram lines. Looking good enough, and it will be work green down at turn 1 and 2.
Marco Samet with the early lead. We're side by side for second. And around the outside, it's going to be Royce Vega hanging on to that second spot. Good run on the outside by Vega. That outside line isn't always the best place to be on the starts here at Newcastle, but he ran well. They gave him racing room, and Vega hangs on to second. Nicholas Orbeza holds down the third spot as we thin things out here in the start of the Micro Swift, brought to you by Team Ferris Racing. We head down into the cell tower area. And we're looking, we've got the off track now. That is the Royce Vega in second goes off track and gathers it back up. It loses a spot. So Royce Vega trying to get things back under control here, but a tough break there for Vega. He loses some ground. And while this is going on, Marco Samet checks out about 5 kart lengths on second place, Nicholas Orbeza. They head back up now over the green, around the green turn, and they'll head now back over towards the cell tower and around ice. Now they're back down around I-70 and down the pond straight. Pretty tight action there in the front of the pack. It's Marco Samet leading the way. And now it's Royce Vega leading the way. Samet is shuffled back to fourth. Vega, Majeski, Orbezo, Samet, and Simone. That is your top 5. So Royce Vega from that second starting position on the point.
Yeah, great first lap for Royce Vega. He's got a 2-car length cushion here to turn number 5 with already 1 lap in the books, 13 laps to go. Jacob Majeski a little bit too hot there into the turn 5 section. Nico Orbezo gets on his bumper. Orbezo looking for a good run to rebound from getting turned around yesterday. Marco Samet right there. Keep an eye on the end of the grouping. Ashton Woon enters today with a very slim championship points lead, trying to stay in the mix of it. He's in 7th in line. Over to the green corner, looking down the inside. Marco Samet on Orbezo. Rocco Simone going as well, side by side. Simone cannot get through, and Samet holds on to the spot for the moment, and they'll stay single file. A 7-driver grouping forming early here in Micro, as out front, it's Royce Vega and the Team Penick number 33.
Down into the I-70 straight, Royce Vega hanging on, but he's got all he can handle. Jacob Majeski in second. Round I-70 and down the pond straight. It's a 7-kart breakaway for the top spot. Vega on point, but now swinging to the inside, taking a peek. Not going to be able to do it. He settles for second. Jacob Majeski holds on to second. Third, Marco Samet, Rocco Simone, and Alexander Pacuna. No changes. They head up through the right-hander turn 3, and now towards the back part of the circuit as they work their way back towards their first run at I-70. And now inside, making the pass is Jacob Majeski, the new leader. Majeski out front. Now good run by Majeski. Here comes Vega. He takes it back in turn 8. And now again, it's Majeski back and forth. These kids aren't satisfied racing in line. They want to go after it. I believe it's Majeski back out in front. But Royce Vega and Marco Samet, 3-kart breakaway. And side by side, here they come. And now around the green corner and headed down the hill. They'll get to the scoreboard corner here in just a moment.
Oh, look at all that. My goodness, Alex Procuna with a send on Nico Orbezo. And don't look now, another driver's joined the fight. It's 8 drivers at the front. Here comes Cameron Marshall, the number 14 Nitro kart. 8th place at the end of the train has latched on. There's more that could join down the front straightaway. Royce Vega is your leader over Rocco Simone in third. In the middle is Jacob Majeski, single file down to turn number 1.
Down through turn 1, it's still Vega, your leader. Majeski runs second. A lot of the action took place on the back part of the circuit on the last lap. And now we're side by side again. These kids aren't giving up, Xander.
Oh, man, this could end in tears really quickly there. They were side by side through turns 3 and 4. Now Ashton Woon into the mix, and he gets by. And goes one to the back. Oh, Marco Samet's turned around. Marco Samet goes around in turn number 5. And the 75, one of the front runners from yesterday, a podium finisher, and an outside shot at the championship, unfortunately, ends in defeat for Marco Samet. Back up front, we knew it might have ended there. I thought it was going to end 2 turns earlier for someone else. Ultimately, Marco Samet, the first casualty out of the lead group.
What a tough break for Marco. He was our pole sitter, and now he's on the sidelines. Marco Samet out of the race. Royce Vega Jacob Majeski. Rocco Simone was third crossing the line the last time. They head to I-70. We'll get a new rundown as they come by this lap. This is a 14-lapper, and we're 3 laps in. It'll be 4 this time by. 10 to go as they cross the stripe, and we're watching for Royce Vega to cross the line in the lead.
Rocco Simone right on his tail. Ashton Woon is now trapped in no man's land. He's got no dancing partner in third, out front or behind, but he's barely hanging onto the toe of the top 2. Back from him, you'll find Jacob Majeski, Nico Orbezo, and Cameron Marcia. The other driver I think involved was Alexander Procuna that got hooked up with Marco Samet. The 2 of them fell down. Procuna dropped down the order as well. So both of them knocked way back. And, of course, Samet completely out. Here they are tightening up a little bit through the horseshoe. Majeski having a good drive on this lap. He'll close up a bit. Look at Marcia trying the inside. Not deep enough. Can't get the pass down on Nico Orbezo. He stays in 6th.
Cameron Marcia with a fast lap of 1:14.138. Fast lap of the race for Cameron Marcia in the number 14. But right now they're chasing Royce Vega. They head up over the hill and now work their way down towards the scoreboard corner and now back towards I-70. Royce Vega has been strong all race. Rocco Simone in tow. They seem to be okay running in line for the moment anyway. They've got Ashton Woon right on the rear bumper in third. So as they come by for another lap, it'll be 5 laps in, 9 laps to go. And we'll go down the leaderboard, but in front remains Royce Vega, followed by Rocco Simone, Ashton Woon, Jacob Majeski, and Nicholas Orbezo. No changes as they go through 1 and 2. And now up through the right-hander, everybody stays in line, although Rocco Simone is right there ready to pounce on Ashton Woon through turn 5, still looking for an opportunity, or is he? Maybe he's just going to wait in the wings until maybe 2 to 3 laps to go before he makes that move. If they can stay in line, they may check out from the rest of the field. Now they head past the cell tower and work their way back towards the scoreboard corner and green corner, as we say here at Newcastle. So around the over the hump now and side by side, they go through the green corner and Simone makes the pass. He's got the lead, and now they head down to scoreboard corner. Simone with the lead, and Vega runs second.
Royce Vega in the middle of it. Here's side by side for second. Ashton Woon takes a look high, tucks back in line. Here comes Jacob Majeski, Nico Orbezo, and look who's arrived as well. More players joining the lead group. Cameron Marcia's got company from behind. Jackson Gibson on the move. The Northwestern-based driver under the RPG camp is coming. Antonio Pizzonia Jr. is there. Drew Waltz is also there. And into turn number 1, 6 laps make it 5 laps, I believe, to go. Missing that one up. 9 to go. Turn it 8 laps to go. Rocco Simone takes their field out of turn number 4.
Fast lap of the race, Jackson Gibson, a 1:13.789. So Jackson Gibson on the charge. We work our way back up on lap number 7. And a pass for second. Ashton Woon slips inside of Royce Vega and makes the pass. Now they head around the green corner and they'll work their way back down the hill and around scoreboard corner here in just a moment. Simone, Woon, and Vega, I believe that's 1, 2, and 3, working their way around and now back up. They'll head towards I-70 in just a moment, and we'll see what they've got. Now to the inside, and it looks like Simone has taken that spot back. So Rocco Simone now doesn't like running second, but here comes Vega. Here comes Woon. It's a 3-kart battle side by side into I-70. 4 karts 2 by 2 coming out on top. Oh, it's a wild one as they head down the straight. And now it's a 6-kart battle crossing the stripe halfway home, and it's anybody's race.
2 and 3 abreast across the line. Big time run for Jacob Majeski to the lead. Simone into second, nearly goes wide. Orbezo to third. Vega back to fourth. Marcia's back into it in the 5th spot. Right behind him is Ashton Woon, who was the big loser out of that whole deal. He's back to 6th. Look at this. Big run for Simone. Looking on the inside of Majeski. Turn 5 with help from Orbezo. Simone to the point aboard the Parolin. And side by side for third. Vega tries to get there. Orbezo hanging tough on the outside lane. He'll hold the spot and opens the door for Ashton Woon to get down the inside. Woon is through, and also Cameron Marcia's been shuffled back. He's lost a couple spots. Move a few more up the order. It's all changing as Rocco Simone leads to 11. Here comes Ashton Woon. He'll take over third. Orbezo on the outside of Vega. Hangs tough, holds on to fourth.
They've got to be careful back there. Simone, Orbezo, Vega. they're going to lose that lead draft if they're not careful. Right now, Majeski and I believe it's Woon up front, and they have checked out a little bit on the rest of the field. So as they round I-70, they're trying to make it the race of their own, and we'll see how that sorts out as we work our way through.
Down the front straightaway here, 2-car breakaway potential for Jacob Majeski and Rocco Simone as Woon got the pass on an Orbezo, and now everyone else has changed hands behind. Vega's lost a spot. Antonio Pizzonia Jr. has picked up a number of positions. The Orsilon Racing Parolin driver into the top 5 for the first time this weekend. 6 spots gained for Antonio Pizzonia Jr. Up the short chute over the crest to turn 5. Single file, and the top 2 again on the verge of breaking away from this big pack.
Luke Gillio in the number 68, advancing 8 positions, started in 18th, now in the top 10. But Rocco Simone still leads the way, 9 spots advanced. He started in 10th. He's leading the way as we've got 3 to go next time by.
5 to go. Yeah, 5 laps to go.
Sorry about that. 5 laps to go.
I got ahead earlier, so we're 1 for 1 on mistakes this race at least. Side by side, Orbezo hangs on the outside of Antonio Pizzonia Nito. 3 wide for 4th on the racetrack, or 5th. And down the inside, Royce Vega gets the spot away. Jackson Gibbs into the outside lane. Karen Marcia going to follow the bottom side. Here comes Drew Waltz into the mix. They're going to allow the next 2 to get away. Woon and Orbezo with a gap as they go single file, 2 by 2, coming out of the corner. Vega wide, Pizzonia Jr. on the inside. He gets clear. Marcia gets by Gibson, and down the front stretch, the leaders get further and further away. 5 to go.
Fast lap of the race. Jacob Majeski pushing Rocco Simone. Those 2 now have put about a 1.5 second gap on the field. Simone and Majeski 1 and 2. Ashton Woon, Nicholas Orbezo, and Antonio Pizzonia Nato, your top 5. As they work their way through lap number 10. It'll be 4 to go next time by, and Simone and Majeski with a pretty good gap on the field.
Yeah, nice little gap for them to give you an idea of exactly where everybody's at this moment right now. For Antonio Pizzonia Jr., back in the 5th spot, he's 2.3 back, 1.3 back from Orbezo and Woon. Ashton Woon and Nico Orbezo, they might have a shot at catching the top 2 because Jacob Majeski is a little bit disconnected from Rocco Simone. If Ashton Woon can put some quick times together, he could run them down. He lost 0.2 of a second last time by, but the Nitro Kart driver fighting for his championship, driving like his life depends on it. With Nico Orbezo behind, he can see the 2 leaders in front. He knows it's him versus Simone for the title. His championship rival leads them out of the I-70 hairpin.
Around I-70 now down the pond straight, crossing the line for lap number 10. And it's going to be Rocco Simone and Jacob Majeski trying to reel him in that second group. Ashton Woon and Nicholas Orbezo rounding turn 2 and now up to turn 3. Everybody kind of behaving themselves in those first 2 groups. On back in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Pizzonia Nato, Vega, Marcia, and Gibson. They're in line. So nobody making any moves at the moment. And certainly that lead group, Simone and Majeski, I don't believe wants to race each other. They want to stay in line until there's a couple laps to go. That second group, Woon and Orbezo, same thing. If they want to catch that lead group, they've got to use, to the biggest extent they can, the draft to go as fast as they can and catch up to that lead group. But right now, Simone and Majeski lead the way as they go around the green corner and will head down towards scoreboard corner, which is the last right-hander before they turn back towards I-70 and go down that long back winding straight. And that's where they're headed now. Simone leading Majeski with a 1 second advantage over 3rd and 4th, Ashton Woon and Nicholas Orbezo. They're around I-70 and will head back our direction.
And Vega is out in the scoreboard hairpin. Royce Vega gets taken out in the scoreboard hairpin here this time in the 33 Bennick. And we've lost another one as they go side by side for the lead. That third group has imploded. Jacob Majeski to the lead. Simone back to second in turn number 1 with 3 laps to go. Now, what a shakeup here late for Royce Vega. Had such a strong weekend running, and we've lost another major contender. Simone and Majeski going wheel to wheel. Now, this is good news for Ashton Woon to get into the mix, but also bad news because Woon, if they ran how they were, from what I can tell, would still win the title by 22 points if Ashton Woon finished 3rd and Rocco Simone won. If Woon fell back to 4th, I think it would come down to about a 5-point advantage still in the way of Ashton Woon. So a 4-driver group, Woon could finish 4th and Simone could win. And I think Ashton Woon would still win the title. Does he know that? Is he thinking on that route? I doubt it. They're going for the race win and they've got a shot at it. Majeski leads them out of the turn number 13, 14 complex. They'll head up to turns 14 and 15 now. The I-70 hairpin, 4 drivers coming together, and the double sticks will wave this time. 2 laps to go for Jacob Majeski.
The two leaders starting to race each other, and here come Ashton Woon and Nicholas Orbezo. That's just what they wanted. They've closed in, and Ashton Woon now on the rear bumper of Simone, and Woon is trying to make a move, not quite close enough, but they have closed the gap. Orbezo trying to hold on. Cameron Marcia now up to the top 5. Woon goes purple on the last lap, a 1:13.421. Leaders go around turn 6, that left-hander, and now head back towards the cell tower. And it's still Majeski, Simone, Ashton Woon a little bit further back, but not much. He's closed in. So Ashton trying to make that move. They keep racing up in front of him, and that's going to help him. If they get side by side, he can pounce. And now 4th place, Nicholas Orbezo, not that far back.
So what a good run going for Ashton Woon in 3rd here. He's got a shot. Jacob Majeski has a different agenda than the other top 3 drivers as Simone goes through in the green corner here with a lap and a half remaining. He signals to work together. Majeski fighting for a first career national win. He wants it. The Franklin Motorsports Merlin driver to the lead out of turn number 13. They'll head up the hill to the final corner. White flag coming this time by, and it's 4 drivers together. Here comes Simone to the inside. 2 by 2 as there goes Orbezo trying the inside on Woon, and the outside lane prevails. Majeski with the momentum down the front straightaway.
I hope they know this is the white flag and not the checker, because it looks like they think it's the checker. Look at the way they're racing. 3 wide across the line. We got 1 to go, kids. Hang on.
Whoa.
Oh, that was a tough one. And I believe was that
Majeski's a round out of the lead. Majeski was on the outside of Rocco Simone. He gets turned into the outside grass. Here comes Nico Orbezo looking for a big-time win.
Orbezo to the outside, trying to do the over and under on, that would be Woon, I guess, right?
Rocco Simone leading Orbezo in 2nd. Woon in 3rd to the cell tower. Final time. Rocco Simone covers low. Orbezo can't get the drive off to get alongside, but they're right there. It'll come all the way down to the wire. Simone blocks in the kink, turn 10. Over to turn 11. Orbezo not going to have a whole low. He stays low. Woon stays low as well. They're single file. 1, 2, 3 into the scoreboard hairpin for the final time. Here goes Simone to the bottom. Woon way high. Orbezo in the middle. Single file coming out, and it'll come down to this final run to the checkered flag. Orbezo behind Simone. Ashton Woon's got a wide open track behind. He opens wide to get the crossover move. Here it comes, side by side with Orbezo out of the final corner. Orbezo has the momentum. He'll get clear. Woon can't hold it. Can Nico Orbezo? Big run, coming, side by side, to the line. Orbezo is the national winner of the U.S. Pro Kart Series.
Wow, what a finish. Nicholas Orbezo over Rocco Simone by a half a kart length. Ashton Woon will finish 3rd. Cameron Marcia 4th. Drew Waltz 5th. Through the top 10, Antonio Pizzognato, Jackson Gibson, Luke Gillio, Aston Wyatt, and rounding out the top 10, Pasha Ali. That's your top 10 finishers, but in a close finish, one of the closest of the day, the 58 of Nicholas Orbezo comes out on top.
What a last lap slingshot move. Nico Orbezo, welcome to the winner's circle on the national scene. And the Iron Rock Motorsports Tony Kart driver will lead them into the scale line. And what a finish to the Micro Championship season. Ashton Woon, I believe, if everything settles out, should be your unofficial champion. Simone, the vice champion. It was down to the wire. But Nico Orbezo with Simone, Woon, and then all the way down, Cameron Marcia gets a top 5 after what was a struggle of a weekend for one of the top micro drivers in the country. He gets a solid finish, ends up just off the box unofficially. Drew Waltz in the top 5. Antonio Pizzognato Junior, 5 spots gained. Jackson Gibson, 7th, 6 spots up. Luke Gillio, 10 spots picked up to 8th at the checkered flag. Aston Wyatt on the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy Bureau Art rounds out the top 10 just ahead of Ali. And my goodness, Randy, that's 2 down. We still got 5 more coming. The racing has been phenomenal.
I'm trying to think in that race. I don't recall Nicholas Orbezo leading much of that race.
Hardly at all. Nico Orbezo was just there pushing, kind of getting to the leaders. And again, just a lot of heartbreak and a big day for Nico Orbezo. Unfortunate here, there's Royce Vega back under power. He was so far off in the grass, he couldn't get that kart back onto the racetrack. So the 33 Team Bennick will suffer a down the order result. But nonetheless, Team Ferris Racing Microslift is wrapped. And now 60 KA100 Seniors presented by Mike Doty Racing are coming your way. Let's give you an idea of where the points are for your KA Senior class coming in to today's main event, factored after drops, assuming that this will be one of their best runs of the season. After the way the points came in, this is how they ran into the pre-final. Alex Stanfield at 1637. Brandon Lemke, 48 points back. After the pre-final, it was a 10-point bonus for Stanfield to be able to get a little bit further up than Lemke. Stanfield won his pre-final. Lemke third in his. That's a 10-point bonus. So now we're 58 points to the good for Alex Stanfield coming into this main. But as we were talking off air, 58 points is not much when you're talking in terms of the top 10. It's a 100-point swing from the win down to 10th place on the racetrack. So that is still only worth a couple of positions coming into the final. Alex Stanfield's been the man to beat most of this weekend. Yesterday, Christian Miles got a big breakthrough win. He's been solid, and the two have worked together well. For Brandon Lemke, he'll start on row number 3 after a third-place result in his pre-final. So he's still got a good shot, but he's got to get up to the front, and he's got to make sure Alex Stanfield fades a couple spots back to have a shot at it. It's coming up next. KA Senior, presented by Mike Doty Racing, right here from Newcastle.
Line has steadily made progress since its inception in October 2021. On top of servicing the Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana areas with products from Kart chassis, Tillotson Karts and Engines, Miami, Briggs, Honda, and more, they're now promoting race events as well throughout the Mid and Coastal South region at NOLA Motorsports Park and Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi. Races are already set for the fall of 2022. September 3rd, October 22nd, and November 12th at NOLA Motorsports Park, and 2 dates, September 10th and October 15th at Finish Line Performance Karting. Drive Your Line is set to finish this year strong. Hannah Greenemeyer is going to score the final win of the U.S. Pro Kart Series. Hayden Jones is a national race winner. Nate Cicero wins.
Four-time champion Ryan Norberg winning Super Nationals 24.
Winner, winner, winner. Are you ready to join one of North America's winningest driver development programs? Rollison Performance Group offers fully customizable packages that are meant to take your game to the next level. For more information, head to rollisonperformancegroup.com. Looking for a top-level team environment that fits your budget? Look no further than AMAX Racing. We cater to customers around the country who want driver coaching, tuning assistance, hospitality, track support, and a family race environment. Our race schedule has support available at all levels, from club and regional series across the Midwest to top-tier events such as the TKNA Grand Nationals, the U.S. Pro Kart Series, and the Scooter Pro Tour. Whatever level you may be at or want to get to, AMAX Racing can get you there.
So we're getting set here for the Mike Doty Racing KA100 Senior main event. Alex Stanfield and Christian Miles are on the front row, but we will not be able to get the field together for the first try at the start. It gives us time to take you through the starting lineup for the 100cc 60 driver field. 16 laps on the boards, and it's the GWR Tony Kart of Alex Stanfield chasing a first career KA Senior national title, a first career national title in the senior ranks, his second season. Last year an X30 Pro rookie, this year dropped down to the 100cc class. He has been on fire since his debut in the division back at Orlando Kart Center for the season opener, where he got a main event win. It's him versus Brandon Lemke in the points fight. About 58 points separate them unofficially here when drops are factored in. He starts on the inside of the Lando Norris kart of Christian Miles. The MDR BJR driver has been a standout debut, or has been on a standout debut weekend, and he makes up the outside of row number one. Row two will be Gavin Bailiff on the TKG Kart Republic, who is outside John Burke, who had a great drive yesterday in that super tuned Tony kart. Then it'll be Jeremy Fletcher on the Ryan Perry Motorsport entry to the inside of fellow championship contender Brandon Lemke in the Millwright Racing Merlin. Row four will be Aiden Levy and Mick Gabriel. Row five, Logan Adams, who was a top five driver yesterday, and Nick Terlecki. Josh Oates, Colin Hayes, Gavin Griffin in the field. We're green. Down in turn one, Alex Stanfield on the inside. Runs Miles a little wide. He'll bounce it through the dirt. Welcome to the big leagues, rookie. He's going to get punted a number of different ways and fall all the way back about 15th or so on the opening circuit. As they go through turn number four, here comes Gavin Bailiff to the bumper of Alex Stanfield. He signals work forward. Let's go ahead. And he gets in line right behind as John Burke slots into third. Fletcher to fourth. Gabriel to fifth. Franklin and Millwright's Merlin entry of Brandon Lemke down in the seventh or eighth spot as a pass is made by Burke for second. John Burke in that super tuned Tony kart up the order, and here's the field coming through the cell tower. 2 and 3 abreast, way back down the order. Here's your leaders going through the green corner, side by side all the way down. Fletcher drops a tire. Bailiff trying to go side by side. They'll go wheel to wheel to the corner. Bailiff through, Terlecki through, Gabriel's through. Fletcher finds a place behind Brandon Lemke alongside Logan Adams. And wow, a chaotic opening circuit. Alex Stanfield leads him to the hairpin for the first time.
And the chaos is back behind first and second, although the chaos started on the outside of that front row. What a tough break for Christian Miles. So fast all weekend, but now he's got his work cut out for him just to get back to that lead group. First lap in the books, Alex Stanfield leads the way. John Burke, Gavin Bailiff, Nicholas Terlecki, and Mick Gabriel, your top five, followed by Jeremy Fletcher, Logan Adams, Josh Oates, Brandon Lemke, and Aiden Levy.
And lots of carnage there, as you saw at the end of that shot in the I-70 hairpin back down the order. So pass at the end of the straightaway. Now a pass here in turn five. Terlecki versus Gabriel. Gabriel gets through. Josh Oates there beating away on the rear bumper of Jeremy Fletcher trying to find a way past. Breaks his momentum a little bit in the process, but he sends it on the inside of the RPM driver. And Oates picks up another spot as Logan Adams locks onto Fletcher's rear bumper now. Up front, Alex Stanfield leading them through. Here's a look as they battle behind. This is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and Fletcher's going to get the business from Logan Adams. Here comes Brandon Lemke alongside him. Not going to go by. Great stuff for Alex Stanfield as they're nearly 3 wide into the scoreboard hairpin. Adams is going to lose 2 spots as Fletcher and Lemke go by.
Heading to I-70, and Alex Stanfield still leading the way, but he's not gapping like he has been in the past. He's got a lot of company.
Oh, no, we got Burke out in front here. Burke got by.
My bad. Burke's out in front. So John Burke in front. Alex Stanfield is second. And third, we've got Gavin Bailiff. About a 0.4 of a second gap from second to third, although Bailiff moves in a lot closer than that. Rounding turn 3, it's Burke, Stanfield, and Bailiff, 1, 2, and 3. And they come around turn 4 now and work their way towards the back part of the circuit. Stay in line, but John Burke now leading the way over Alex Stanfield.
4-driver break here just for a little bit back to Terlecki and Oates. They're 5th and 6th as into the inside on Stanfield goes Gavin Bailiff. He'll take over second. Little bobble on the exit, but he signals, hey, all right, I'll keep it together. Stanfield locked into third. Gabriel right there. Does anyone go to the inside? Stanfield blocks for P3, keeps Gabriel at bay. And we got problems further back. Kendall Hedge has been collected out. Another driver, a casualty on the opening couple laps. And unfortunately for her, final race on the national scene for quite some time. The MPG Motorsports driver will retire early. Let's see where the leaders are here into the I-70 corner. Gabriel going for third on Stanfield. He'll get by. That'll connect the groups a little bit as now Oates is there. Terlecki's been shuffled behind Brandon Lemke, and Christian Miles digging back forward. He's got himself back in the top 10 and looking to get back to the lead group with 2 laps complete.
And we don't see Alex Stanfield running fourth very often, but he's back in fourth now. And we've got Logan Adams, who's been running near the front most of the day. He's all the way back in 12th. We get a look at Christian Miles. Christian Miles got shuffled back to 14th on that start. He's all the way up to 8th in just 3 laps. So Christian Miles on the move.
Good pass there by Gavin Bailiff into turn number 5. Here's Lemke looking outside on Josh Oates. Can't get by there. And look at this. John Burke really hurt Gavin Bailiff's chances as he made sure to keep him on the outside, pinned him back. There are 5 drivers lined up. Burke is the leader. And look at this. Josh Oates with a send down the inside on Alex Stanfield. The veteran 100cc driver Josh Oates up to P3. Lemke now going to take that spot away from him. And so Brandon Lemke now goes to the point. And oh, we got one more off. Way off the racetrack for Nicholas Terlecki. Here comes Connor Ferris. He'll get by him up the hill. And back up front, a 6-driver grouping. And all of a sudden, the championship dynamics start to come into play. Stanfield back to 6th. Lemke up to 3rd. Looking for more on Gabriel as he looks to the inside to turn number 1. He'll get there. Gabriel has to give it up. Stanfield also gets spit away from Bailiff. As Lemke goes forward, Stanfield needs to keep moving back forward with him.
Christian Miles up to 7th. Aiden Levy 8th. Jeremy Fletcher 9th. And Connor Ferris 10th. But John Burke and Mick Gabriel up front leading the way.
Lemke with a great move down in turn 5. He'll take over the lead in the Millwright Merlin. And so he takes them into the cell tower. Hairpin Burke back on the inside. John Burke will not go to the rear of the field as Holtz really was rough there getting by Mick Gabriel. Now Alex Stanfield's going to move Holtz by. And so a 2-driver breakaway up front as Stanfield gets to P3. Bailiff to P4. Gabriel to P5. Holtz 6. Fletcher's evaded the madness. He's gotten by Christian Miles. Moved Miles back a spot or 2. And it is all chaos in the opening laps here as Fletcher now gets hung to dry. He gets knocked in the dirt by Aiden Levy. Levy keeps going. Adams gets by as well. And up front, John Burke, Brandon Lemke. Little bit of a gap back to Stanfield, but that's going to shorten up because Stanfield's got no pressure out back. He'll be able to close the gap. So there's Christian Miles and Jeremy Fletcher back there. Up to the leaders, John Burke, Brandon Lemke, Alex Stanfield's got 2 more behind. Look at this chaos down to the corner. Furl black flags going every which way, and Levy's going to send Connor Ferris through the dirt.
Unbelievable. A lot of grass being mowed out there today. Burke and Lemke 1 and 2, a little bit of a gap back to Stanfield in 3rd, but Stanfield's trying to charge back after being the early leader. He got shuffled back, and Christian Miles 7th. He wants to get back up to the point, but right now Burke and Lemke leading the way, a little bit of cushion over Alex Stanfield.
So now Alex Stanfield, great run through the horseshoe. Little bit of a loss on the exit of the cell tower, but still a good run for him. 3rd, 4th, and 5th trying to catch up to the leaders. Josh Holtz there at the end of the grouping. Christian Miles 7th trying to close up here as Burke leads Lemke into the scoreboard hairpin. For once, no passing in the lead group this time. They're single file. They seem to have sorted it amongst themselves for this second. And as they head up the hill, 5-driver breakaway. Holtz with a little carburetor adjustment there, going up the hill. This time by 10 laps to go here in KA100 Senior, just coming towards the halfway marker. John Burke in that Super Tune Tony Kart is your leader down to turn number 1.
John Burke starting in 4th position, working his way up to the front. Brandon Lemke right there, but 5 cars nose to tail for that top spot. Alex Stanfield, Gavin Bailiff, and Mick Gabriel. No changes. They work their way through turn 3 and now into turn 4. And it's still Burke, the leader. And now peeking to the inside is Alex Stanfield. Makes the pass. Stanfield looks like he is. I believe he got up to 2nd. So Stanfield over around Lemke for 2nd. Burke up in front.
Sorry, there, yeah, Lemke went by. So it changed camera angles as it threw you off a little bit, Randy. Alex Stanfield went for 2nd, and Lemke saw that, got in front of Stanfield, went to the lead. Burke went back on him in the next corner, and they're all side by side. They're 3 wide for the lead. Lemke backs out of it. Burke's going to block to the bottom side. They all go low. Holtz to the top side. Lemke gets shuffled wide, and Stanfield gets to 2nd. Here comes Christian Miles back into the mix. Logan Adams on the way. Levy's on the way. Into turn number 15. Stanfield to the lead. Lemke will follow. Burke back to 3rd.
How about this race playing back into the hands of Christian Miles, getting shuffled back to 14th on the start. He's in the lead pack, possibly with a shot at a win.
Yeah, he's got to get up there. Anyone's got a shot right now if they keep racing the way they are. Alex Stanfield, though, has been one of the fastest drivers this weekend. He might start to lower the lap times a little bit and spread this field out if they follow him up front. Brandon Lemke, though, he can't afford to just push Stanfield away if he wants to win this championship. He's got to get by Alex Stanfield and keep them packed up so Stanfield could get shuffled backwards. But we'll see where Lemke's head's at right now. He might be thinking he's a little closer in the points. This is, again, our unofficial calculations on Kart Chaser and eKarting News. From what we can tell, Stanfield about a 50 to 55 point cushion. Lemke second, just a little ways back there. John Burke a car length away. Logan Adams has got himself up into fourth ahead of Mick Gabriel. Then Josh Oates, then Christian Miles. Gavin Bailiff, the big loser. He's going to lose another spot. Here's Race Liberante. Where has he been all day? Trying to work his way out of the midfield. He's into the top 10.
16 positions advanced by Race Liberante. Started in 27th. He's now in the top 10.
And he's got a shot to get up to the leaders. He was really quick in yesterday's main event, but they are separated now. And Stanfield getting help from Brandon Lemke. This could be the story for the second half if nothing changes. If no one else finds a lot of speed, Alex Stanfield and Brandon Lemke might check out on this pack, and that might be the way they want to do it. John Burke, Logan Adams, Mick Gabriel gave up a couple tenths last time by, have not been able to keep up the pace of Lemke and Stanfield. Christian Miles has gone by Josh Oates a few moments ago. He's holding on to 6 and reeling in that group of 3, but he needs to get going fast before these two check out. As out of the cell tower hairpin, John Burke leads the second pack.
We reached the halfway mark, and Alex Stanfield leads the way. Brandon Lemke runs second, John Burke third, Logan Adams fourth, Mick Gabriel fifth. Through the top 10, Josh Oates runs sixth, Christian Miles, Aiden Levy, Race Liberante, and running in 10th, Jeremy Fletcher.
Into the scoreboard hairpin once again here, single file up front. Jeremy Fletcher's gotten up to behind Race Liberante. They got into it a little bit yesterday, racing for 8th place on the racetrack. That crash really knocked Jeremy Fletcher out of championship contention. He already had a flat tire at Gopher Motorplex for one of the main events that cost him points. That was his drop. Then yesterday, a crash in a 60-kart field. That hurts as well. Here comes Logan Adams with Mick Gabriel to the inside for third. He's going to try and lead them forward because Burke's not being able to get the job done. They gave up another 2 tenths to the lead last time by. Here's Liberante and Fletcher going through. Here's that second group led by Adams. The gap to cut down 1 second. Logan Adams signaling for help. Gabriel also doing the same, wanting to push him, wanting to work with him. He's content to wait there in the 4th spot as they go through the horseshoe.
Christian Miles inching his way forward, now up to 6th. But Alex Stanfield leads Brandon Lemke by just not even a kart length. I mean, they're bumper to bumper. Logan Adams trying to close in on those top 2 with Mick Gabriel, John Burke, and Christian Miles in tow. But Brandon Lemke pushing Alex Stanfield was the fastest kart on the track last lap.
John Burke's trying to slide job Mick Gabriel. They're wheel to wheel. Gabriel holds the spot. This brings Christian Miles into the mix. Burke wanting to go by Gabriel. I don't know why he wanted to go as early as he did, but he's going now with help from Miles. Gabriel gets shuffled to the wayside. They're nearly 3 wide out of the corner, and Burke gets into 4th. Now that leaves Logan Adams by himself, and I don't know if Burke was holding on to the spot or maybe thinking that Gabriel was a little bit slower. Either way, no improvement for Logan Adams. He lost double that time, 4 tenths slower than the leaders. They're going to check out. Gabriel, he gets on top of Burke, and he's off. Mick Gabriel way off the racetrack. Cuts onto the track just at the point where he nearly left. And John Burke right there is going to freight train by him on the outside lane.
Wow, that's a tough break. Alex Stanfield now loving this action behind him as he keeps a good gap out there with Brandon Lemke. Logan Adams now a 2.5 back. So that short distance they had of a half a second, all this action has caused them to lose that lead draft. So Logan Adams trying to bring him back. But right now, Alex Stanfield and Brandon Lemke checking out.
Lots of rough racing there. You saw on your screen that Gavin Bailiff got booted out of the way by Aiden Rudolph. Rudolph put up his hand and kind of looked like in motion to say sorry. And then, we got problems for John Burke. Look at that. The right rear bumper bolt has broken on that Super Tune USA Tony kart. So John Burke probably got a meatball flag coming here or a DQ in the scale line, and that's going to affect the handling. I'm sure he can feel it. It's unfortunate for Burke. His hand frustrated there. He says, I'll push you, Jeremy. I got nothing left in the tank anyway. My race is about done because he'll have to pull in here relatively soon. There's the meatball flag. That'll do it for John Burke's chances here today. And the 904 is going to have to come to the pit lane. He and Mick Gabriel, it was starting to get pretty heated between the two of them if you were watching closely. Both of them frustrated with the other one, and that's where that contact came to a head at turn 3 last lap. And now, as we watch Race Liberante and Jeremy Fletcher, they get 2 free spots, 6th and 7th for Liberante and Fletcher. Liberante up 21 spots now as there goes Burke into the scale line along with one other driver into the back of the field.
But while they're all racing each other, Alex Stanfield just goes purple with a 108.698 with Brandon Lemke in tow. It really has boiled down to those two. 11 laps in. We've got 5 laps to go, and Alex Stanfield and Brandon Lemke are going to sort it out amongst themselves.
So as they come out of the scoreboard hairpin here, Logan Adams, Christian Miles, Josh Holtz, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. One of the better runs of the season for Josh Holtz, the veteran U.S. Pro Kart Series and driver and the Route 66 Sprint Series former KA Senior champion. Into the top 5 here this week. It was a decent day yesterday. Looking even better today. Christian Miles and Holtz going by Logan Adams. Adams putting his hand in the air like, what are you guys doing? And I think both of them thought they were better off with Adams behind them than in front of them to try and make some headway. Either way, it's 5 laps to go, a 2.6-second margin. They were equal to the leaders there. It might be too little too late, though, for Christian Miles and Josh Holtz.
Alex Stanfield went purple last lap, a 108.698. Remains the fastest kart in the racetrack, being drafted and pushed by Brandon Lemke. Those two are the class of the field. 2.5-second gap back to that second group of Christian Miles, Josh Holtz, Logan Adams, and Race Liberante, as you said, advancing 21 positions. Liberante with a really good run. Adrian Cruz starting in 22nd, up to 12th. 10 positions advanced by Adrian Cruz.
So 4 laps to go here. There's a battle further back with Gavin Bailiff and Aiden Levy, but I want to talk about the leaders a little bit. Brandon Lemke again comes into today trailing by about 60 points to Alex Stanfield. And, you know, you would put a lot of drivers in this situation, and they would points race. They would do exactly what I thought he might do early in the session, battle, make that pack as big as possible to bring more drivers into the fight and shuffle Stanfield back and hope that Stanfield gets a couple carts between himself and Lemke. In this case here, Brandon Lemke, he's going for the route for the checkered flag, and he'll let the points fall where they fall at this point. I don't think it'll get him a championship, but you got to respect it. He's racing this one just like he would any other Sunday afternoon, trying to do what he thinks is the smartest way to get the race win, and he's doing exactly that. And for Brandon Lemke, he's been racing the U.S. Pro Kart Series, as we've talked about, a long, long time. He's a veteran in the ranks. I know they've got a very successful family business he's been working in. And the Millwright Racing Merlin driver, I talked to him earlier this year. He's like, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to keep doing this. We're busy back home. I love racing. At the same time, I've done it. I've accomplished about everything there is to accomplish. You're talking about a U.S. Pro Kart Series X30 Pro champion, 100cc champion, route champion, WK champion, SCUSA champion. The list goes on for Brandon Lemke. He's had a very storied career, and in what could be one of his final full seasons, hopefully not, he's doing a great job earning, I think, the respect of many with his drive here this weekend as he pushes Alex Stanfield to the line. This time, 2 to go, and it'll be the top 2 in the championship, putting on a show for the fans here in the stands and on the stream back home of the best this weekend, going at it. A 2-way dogfight for the win with a lap and 3/4 to go.
Brandon Lemke right there ready to pounce, and he's got to be thinking now, where can I do it? He has shown the ultimate amount of patience as he has not tried to race Stanfield. He's tried to push him, and he's been successful at that. Now almost a 3-second advantage over 3rd spot Christian Miles, and hats off to Christian Miles. What a run he's had, getting shuffled back to 14th, working his way all the way back to 3rd, but too much room, too much time, too much space to get back up to 1st and 2nd with only 2 laps to go, less than 2 laps to go. But Brandon Lemke now sizing up where he's got the strength on Alex Stanfield as they head down now into scoreboard corner and now back up towards I-70. It'll be the final time by as they receive the white. Next time when they cross the stripe, Brandon Lemke making a move, trying to make a move around Alex Stanfield.
I think he wants to wait a little bit longer here. Stanfield looked back, Lemke pointed forward, said, you know what, let's just keep going, make sure there's no possible chance that Christian Miles and Josh Holtz could get involved. White flag in the air here for Alex Stanfield. And again, for Stanfield, the story is going back a month and a half ago to the SCUSA Pro Tour here. He was so close to a first career senior national championship, going head-to-head with Jeremy Fletcher, his former teammate and good friend. And he just got shuffled out of the way, came up a couple spots short in the final few laps of the season. And this weekend, he's been very smart, very methodical. The pace has been there. It's easy to be smart when you got a lot of speed. He's had that. But yesterday, finishing 2nd, pushing Christian Miles to the win, giving himself a solid points day, today with a pole and a win in the pre-final, extending that lead. And coming into today, doing exactly what he needed to do. Final time to the scoreboard hairpin for KA Senior. Lemke content to ride behind him. As they come out of the scoreboard hairpin, it'll be a run to the line, if that. Stanfield pulled a car length on him, so he might have a good shot. down to the I-70 corner. Stanfield blocks. Lemke goes to the high side. Out of the corner, Lemke not going to get the run off the exit as they were too low on RPM. Down the front stretch, big run for Brandon Lemke to the inside. A slingshot move and a drag race to the checkered flag at the line. Brandon Lemke wins by 29 thousandths of a second over Alex Stanfield.
Brandon Lemke waited and waited and waited until the final moment. The only lap you need to lead is the last lap, and that's the one he led. Brandon Lemke with the win over Alex Stanfield. Christian Miles will finish third. Josh Holtz fourth. Logan Adams fifth. Jeremy Fletcher sixth. Race Liberante. Aiden Levy, Gavin Bailiff, and Finnegan Bailiff. That rounds out your top 10. But in another side-by-side close finish, Brandon Lemke comes out on top in the large 60-strong KA100 Senior class.
And that will do it. You again go back all the way through. The Bailiff brothers making up some spots. Adrian Cruz up 11 spots. Liberante up 20. At the drop of the checkered flag, ends up 7th behind Jeremy Fletcher. Down the order, a few other notables. Matthew Mockabee up 14 spots. Gia Cicero, 26. Talked about Emerson Reed having a problem. A mechanical failure dropped him out of that pre-final. He ends up losing so much time. He ends up 34 spots gain. Hard Charger award for Emerson Reed from the back to the edge of the top 20. Jeremy Fletcher and Race Liberante there. I think some respect here at the end of this weekend and for both of them as they end up with a couple of top 10 finishes. They'll do the pitchback bumper checks, put the drivers through post-race scaling and tech inspection. And Brandon Lemke, the winner today, and unofficially it sounds like the winner of the award to Alex Stanfield in a first career senior national title for the driver out of Dallas, Texas. We'll go to commercial break. When we come back, X30 Pro Junior is set to go green.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex Rock engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParallelinUSA.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment, look no further than Rev Performance Materials, engine mounts, sprockets, and arcade chains. Available online now at RevPerformanceMaterials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material, built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
Welcome back here to Newcastle, and we get set for the X30 Pro Junior main event presented by Rollison Performance Group. Caleb Gaffera has been the class of the field this weekend when it comes to speed. Your winner yesterday from dead last on the grid. He's got a much better starting spot here today from the pole position for the 704. To his outside, it'll be the Motorsport Kart Republic of Enzo Vidmontien, his first national event on the new go-kart. And back to row number 2. It'll be the Lando Norris Kart JC Kart Racing Team entry of Sebastian Weldon alongside Gaffera's RPG Cosmic teammate in Teddy Musella. Max Taylor will make it 3 RPGs inside the top 5 with a good run in the pre-final to get himself on the inside of row 3. Lines up alongside championship points leader Max Garcia. Ernesto Rivera and Charlie Smith make row 4. Parker DeLong, Stephen Miller, row 5. And we're underway down to turn number 1. Good start for Gaffera and Weldon. They'll get into first and second. Vidmontien hangs on to third, and they'll file their way through turns 1, 2, and 3 on this opening circuit. And over to 4, Caleb Gaffera, your leader on the short chute over the hill into turn number 5.
Everybody on that inside line got to move pretty good, so Gaffera and Weldon got a good start, clean start on the inside, and it looks like everybody is under power, so a clean start all around. But Caleb Gaffera picking up where he left off in KA100 Junior leads the way. Sebastian Weldon runs in second early on this first lap in our X30 Pro Junior class. It'll be 18 laps long, so it is a bit of a marathon, Xander, and these guys can't just go out there and wear out their tires early. They got to pace themselves, and Caleb Gaffera right now pacing himself pretty strong as he's trying to hold off the likes of Sebastian Weldon.
Max on Max action there as Max Garcia was working his way by Max Taylor there for the 4th position. Taylor going to go back on him into the final corner as Gaffera blocks just a little bit. Taylor going to go by. Ernesto Rivera will follow. Garcia back to 6. Musella trying to go. This is going to freight train Max Garcia all the way behind Parker DeLong and Charlie Smith at the end of the front straightaway. So Garcia drops way back. Now, a lot of these drivers were running double duty in the KA100 Junior class. We see DeLong going on the inside of Musella. He'll get a spot. Smith on the outside. He'll lose 2. But many of them watched the KA Junior main event if they weren't in it and saw how the battling, at least for the lead, gives way to a big gap. Now they're battling pretty hard for the second group. So we'll see as they go all the way through. Garcia on the inside of Rivera. He gets by. Rivera now 3 wide as Charlie Smith gets over-undered on Stephen Miller. And we'll go side by side here. Let's send it on down trackside. Caleb Smog's caught up with Brandon Lemke, your feature winner in KA100 Senior by just 0.03 of a second. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. So, Brandon, first off, congratulations on the win. Second off, you kind of had a fight for that one in the start of it. Walk us through up until the first half when he caught up to Stanfield.
Yeah, that start was definitely crazy. I mean, starting 6th, that's where all the competitive guys are anyway, so they're fighting for every little bit of track they can get. I was just trying my best to hold on through the first couple corners, settle in for a little bit, let the tires heat up, and then try to see what I had towards the end of the race. And I knew I had top. Like, okay, it should hopefully be easier to win as long as my car doesn't fall off and all the tight stuff. And we got lucky on that one.
Now, walk us through the end of it. We all know that you were going to be staying right with Stanfield at the end. You guys want to pull away from the mess that you were talking about, all that craziness that was behind you. Coming into the I-70, though, did you think you had a chance on a run on him? I knew you were going to attempt it, but when did you actually know that you had it?
I think I probably knew I had it probably halfway through the race, to be completely honest. I saw how much top end we had. We were struggling all weekend, really, with bottom end, top end, a little bit of everything. Made some changes, some chassis adjustments. I think that helped us get out of the corners better, dropped some teeth, and it was just a lucky call, really, and it really paid off.
There it is. That is your winner for your KA Senior class, Brandon Lemke. As we send it back to you, Xander.
Thank you, Caleb. Back to the on-track action. 16 to make it 15 laps to go this time by. Caleb Gaffera, Sebastian Weldon, Enzo Vidmontien battled a bit early. They've now kind of lined up and down the front stretch. They've got a comfortable margin. It goes back to 4th on the racetrack in Max Taylor. 15 to go, 3 down. The quick time, though, way down the order to that second group. They're making up a little bit of headway. Max Taylor was a little quicker than the leaders. Parker DeLong coming for the ride with him through turn number 4. Over on the chute to 5. Here's your leaders headed into 5. Gaffera, Weldon, Vidmontien. Then Taylor leading the second pack about a second or so away through the horseshoe.
Ernesto Rivera on the charge, a 107.683 fast lap so far on lap number 3. He's in 9th position, but Caleb Gaffera and Sebastian Weldon and Enzo Vidmontien top 3 about a second ahead of that second group as they work their way through the back part of the circuit.
So they'll come out of the green corner here. You can see Parker DeLong's now gone by Max Taylor. Max Garcia is in a dogfight right now with Teddy Musella, Charlie Smith, and Ernesto Rivera goes around. I think he expected Garcia to be more on the outside curbing, but just kind of went a little bit too close to him. And the two touched tires, and around went Ernesto Rivera. So the quickest driver from last lap, towing at the end of that pack, gets taken out of this one. So side by side, hard racing there. I don't think there was any malicious on either end as they exited the corner. Now Musella trying to go on Charlie Smith, can't get it done. Garcia leads the next pack. He's been shuffled even further down the order, and this is great news for Caleb Gaffera. More importantly, though, Aiden Ingrata way back having to come through the field after a not-so-great start from 12th on the grid. He's almost into that group with Max Garcia and could challenge, and that's where the championship battle, I believe, currently lies.
Gaffara still leading the way. Aiden Ingrata, a 107.228. He was fast on lap number 4 as they come around now going head down to the scoreboard corner, and it's going to be Gaffara, Weldon, and Vinmontien 1, 2, and 3 as they round the scoreboard corner and head back towards I-70.
Out of the scoreboard hairpin here, Caleb Gaffera, Sebastian Weldon, Enzo Vidmontien up the hill. Then behind them again, Parker DeLong still running by his lonesome on the 7:36. Ryan Perry Motorsport, Tony Kart, he's trying to get there. We'll see what his times look like. I think he may have lost a little ground. This will help, though. Sebastian Weldon to the lead into turn number 1. Comfortably clear on Gaffera at the end of the straightaway.
A little surprised Weldon would make the move that early, but apparently he thinks he could be a little bit faster, so he wants to lead and put a gap possibly on Gaffera, as he does about 2 kart lengths right now, so Weldon's got some horsepower.
And now side by side for second. Vidmontien down the inside. He'll take over that spot from Gaffera. Let's go side by side and talk to the other half of that battle in KA Senior, and the man who's unofficially crowned a national champion for the first time in the senior ranks, Alex Stanfield, is down with Caleb Smock.
So, Alex, as we said, provisionally you are the champion here this afternoon if it is everything goes through tech perfectly. Now, you led most of that second half of the race. I know you know that Lemke was going to make an under-over. What was your plan to defend him?
Yeah, I think coming out of scoreboard corner, I over-defended going into the final corner. And then he was behind me coming out. And then going over the kink, he just got under me. And it was pretty much a drag race all the way to the line, and I just missed it.
Now, when you guys look back to that first maybe 8 to 10 laps, it was a nice 6-kart battle up in that front pack. At what point did you think that maybe you could settle in?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was trying to be patient. Other guys maybe weren't as patient as me, but I was just trying to stay in front as best I could. And me and Lemke just worked really well together in front, and we pulled away.
Did you have any plans with anyone outside of Lemke before you're going into it?
Maybe Christian Miles, because we had worked together this past weekend really well. But other than that, just, trying to work with anybody I could.
Well, I know that coming to second ever is the sweetest thing ever, but congratulations on the win here in the championship for KA. That is your KA100 Senior Champion for USPKA. I just send it back to you.
Thank you, Caleb. Here we go back to the on-track action. Problems for Jorge Ortiz. He got together in the back, and now we got to change in the lead. Enzo Vidmontien to the point in the bright white and orange Kart Republic. He takes over the lead. Weldon back to second. Gaffera third. Great news for Parker DeLong fans and the rest of the pack as they'll get a little bit closer with every pass made. Max Taylor trying to come along as Gaffera takes over second from Weldon in the I-70 hairpin.
Around I-70 now down the pond straight. Gaffera now goes to the inside. It's a drag race down the front stretch. Gaffera wants to lead again, and he does just that. Weldon gets shuffled back to third, I believe, as Vidmontien goes up to second. So it's a Caleb Gaffara back up in front after he got moved back to third. He wants to lead again.
Through turn number 4, Gaffera, then Weldon, then Vidmontien down in third. Big run for Sebastian Weldon to push, but that second pass there, that's now put Parker DeLong into the drafting window in fourth. Right behind him is Max Taylor. Max Garcia's rebounded up to 6th, but he's got some ground to make up. They're about a second and a half back from the leading group of 5, and it's become 5 now. There's still plenty of time left. 10 to go. Caleb Gaffera has been the fastest kid all weekend. Might be able to lead this pack and spread it out again as he did earlier here in this final.
Caleb Gaffara leading the way. Sebastian Weldon, Enzo Vidmontien, Parker DeLong, and Max Taylor, your top 5. Charlie Smith with a fast lap of 107.032. It'll be halfway home. Actually, it'll be his 8 laps complete, 10 to go next time by. We have an 18-lapper here as they head down the pond straight. Caleb Gaffara leading him across the stripe.
So here they go, single file, big push coming to Gaffera at the end of the straightaway. That'll give them all their best lap time of the session so far as they rocket through turns 1 and 2. DeLong and Taylor right there, headed over to turn number 4 and over the hill on the short chute to turn number 5. Caleb Gaffera with a car length advantage is rocketing through the infield sections of the racetrack here. Weldon and Vidmontien were able to close up on that long straightaway, but right now, if they don't get him back behind them, he might be able to walk away. 2 car lengths is the gap here coming out of the cell tower hairpin.
Around the hairpin and now heading back down towards green corner. Caleb Gaffara clinging to that lead, but he's got some company. He's not gapping him like he did in KA100 Junior, that's for sure. He's going to earn every piece of real estate on this one. Sebastian Weldon, Enzo Villamontien, and now closing the gap, Parker DeLong and Max Taylor. It's a 5-card battle now. So Caleb Gaffera, who has been flawless all weekend except for the DNF due to the mechanical failure, Caleb Gaffera trying to make it 2 in a row today here at Newcastle, and right now he's looking pretty good.
Side by side for second. Vidmontien's going to go on Weldon. Not sure where that move makes a whole lot of sense. Outside of Vidmontien getting another spot. Parker DeLong now going to go by Weldon for third, but I'm just worried for their sake because Caleb Gaffera doubled his lead with that single pass. And unless Parker DeLong can really turn on the afterburners, I don't know where we got it. DeLong, big time move. He might prove me wrong as he gets by Vidmontien, takes over second. Weldon gets to third, Vidmontien to fourth, and Max Taylor still riding in fifth. But Caleb Gaffera, 8.5 laps to go. That lead's already over a second.
If they want to beat Gaffera, they got to get him behind him. He's got to work for it. And right now, they're playing right into his hand. And Caleb Gaffera has gapped him probably when they cross the line close to a second over second place. And it was just 2 laps ago they were nose to tail. So they can't be racing each other. They got to stay in line now and try to catch him. And quite honestly, Xander, it might be too late.
It might just be a little bit too late here. And again, we're only at just past the halfway marker in this one, but he's outside the drafting distance so fast here this weekend for Caleb Gaffera. He's gone. Parker DeLong that time by loses a little bit of ground as Gaffera goes purple by himself. No tow, no drafting partner needed for Caleb G. He is rolling here in Newcastle.
He's not going to make any mistakes. He's going to hit his marks. And when he's turning purple by himself, yeah, that's a bad sign for the rest of the field. Parker DeLong now leading the train to catch up to Caleb Gaffara, but last lap, they were half a second slower.
Into the cell tower hairpin here, single file for this group. At least DeLong looks like he's got good pace. The RPM Tony Kart pulling away a little bit from Weldon, a little bit from Vidmontien and company. It'll be interesting to see what his lap times look like this time by as there goes Max Taylor down the inside of Vidmontien, who hangs a little bit too far on the outside coming out of that corner. Costs him some time. Hooks the bumper with Taylor. I don't think that was intentional on either end, just a miscue on getting into line. It's given Sebastian Weldon some cushion room, and now it's going to give Max Garcia and company the opportunity to try and run down Vidmontien for fifth.
They can run down Vidmontien for fifth, and that is a possibility. They're close enough. Back to the point, though, 1.2 second advantage, and this lap it's 1.5. So 0.3 of a second lost by Parker DeLong over Caleb Gaffera. He just keeps making that gap bigger and bigger every lap.
Through turn number 4, over to turn number 5, DeLong and Weldon. That time by, again, to give you an idea, a 106.9 for each of them, a 106.7 for Caleb Gaffera by himself, 0.2 faster than second and third. 7 laps to go. We've got already 11 complete, and Caleb Gaffera on track right now to have a monstrous finale weekend here in Newcastle.
Unbelievable weekend for Caleb Gaffera as he's right now on his way to a possible victory in the X30 Pro Junior class. It would be 3 victories this weekend for Caleb Gaffera. So he's really, really got it singing today. 106.702 on lap 10 was the fast lap. By himself with no help of a tow, no help of a draft, no help of a push. He's still the fastest kart in the racetrack. And as they come by one more time, this will be for lap number 12, which will leave 6 laps to go. It's Gaffara the lead, 1.6 second advantage over Parker DeLong. DeLong's up on the wheel. He's trying to make it go and just can't quite have enough to close in on Gaffara.
Awkward deal there as Teddy Musella was getting pushed by Ingrata to go by Max Garcia, and then as he went by, clipped a tire and ultimately fell behind both of them. So now Garcia finds himself back in 7th. back in 7th position. Ingrata's up to 6th. Musella back to the 8th spot. Teddy Musella's had some good speed this week. Every time it seems he gets going forward, something happens. He gets knocked backwards again, has to come back through the field a little bit. So P8 for Teddy Musella. Charlie Smith there at the end of the shot. Let's see what Musella does behind Garcia. He'll wait for now. 6 laps to go, 5 at the line. Watching some of these battles further down the field here is, again, Gafera long gone out front here once again. Same story, different category from KA Junior today. It would be a fantastic afternoon for the Gafera fam if they could sweep both main events in the junior classes. A good consolation prize for a rocky season, to say the least. Down the front stretch here, DeLong looks back, sees Weldon, says, all right, well, we're at least pulling away from the guys behind, but we don't have anything for this kid out front. 5 to go, and they're just single file logging some laps here, doing what they can to at least ensure a podium for both drivers.
Well, let's give a call out to a couple of drivers that have been really charging well today. Gavin Witt started 26th up to 14th, advanced 12 positions. And Chris Aiken starting in 28th up to 18th position. Both those drivers with good runs out there, but getting back to the front of the field as they work their way through the back part of the circuit, and now around Cell Tower Corner and on their way back up to the green corner. And Caleb Gafera now 1.7 seconds, gains about 0.2 of a second a lap on the field. Gafera, DeLong, Weldon, Taylor, and Vidmontien. That's your top 5, but the battle is really 2nd through 5th between those 4 to see who can come out on top. Caleb Gafera not giving up any ground. It'll be 14 laps complete, 4 laps to go next time by for Caleb Gafera.
So with Caleb Gafera just closing in on a second checkered flag on the day, his teammate is trying to close in on a podium. Max Taylor, another personal best that time by a 106.933. He's only 9/10 back from 2nd and 3rd, and Sebastian Weldon and Parker DeLong. And this group back behind him here has changed hands a couple times. Max Garcia's now gone ahead of Aiden Ingrata, back to that 6th position as Taylor. We're watching him do this all by himself here, reeling his way forward from 4th. 5th on the racetrack's Vidmontien. He's been running by himself as Taylor's driven away from him on his own. So Vidmontien could even potentially fall victim to this grouping with Max Garcia, Aiden Ingrata, Teddy Musella, and Charlie Smith on that Nash Motorsports EOS kart. 4 laps to go, headed to the green corner here. No change for this pack for now. I think they're trying to see if they stay lined up, if they can hunt down Enzo Vidmontien for P5.
That's about all they can do at this point, and it's about anybody can do right now is race each other. Caleb Gafara just went purple on the last lap. A 106.653 remains the fastest kart on the racetrack by himself. Parker DeLong, who started in 9th, having a great run, but just can't quite get enough speed up there to make a challenge and close that gap. 2.1 second separation between Gafara and Parker DeLong for 2nd. Sebastian Weldon right there in the rear bumper of DeLong, as is Max Taylor. So they're trying to battle it out for that 2nd spot. But Caleb Gafara, again, leading the way, owning this class in the X30 Pro Junior.
Yeah, doing a great job out of here. Gafara is still relatively within about 1/10 of a second of his best time overall. A 106.75 last time to a 106.65, his best as a whole on the session. To give you an update on Garcia versus Vidmontien, they knocked 0.3 off the gap that time. So they are closing with Max Garcia in front. Aiden Ingrata, the 2 drivers leading the championship coming into Sunday. Nose to tail, working to get a top 5 result potentially. Ingrata on that Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed. Garcia on the MPG Motorsports Will Power Kart. Coming to 2 to go this time. They might be able to get there. It'd be a long shot. They'd have to make sure they waited till the very end to pass, but a good run down the straight could make it possible. 2 to go for Caleb G., Parker DeLong, and then Sebastian Weldon, 2nd and 3rd. Max Taylor was making some headway. He's lost some ground, and there goes Ingrata. No working together. He'll bring Teddy Musella with him. They freight train Garcia back to 8th.
And let's see the white flag next time by Caleb Gafera. Parker DeLong in 2nd, trying to hang on. Sebastian Weldon right there, as is Max Taylor, and they're trying to stay a little bit further in front of the charge of Enzo Vidmontien as he's trying to close in on that 2nd group. But Caleb Gafera now 2.5 seconds ahead of Parker DeLong. Last lap, they were still about 0.4 of a second difference, with the Gafera being that much faster by himself. So Gafera, again, the class of the field, Parker DeLong runs 2nd.
Big mistake there out of the cell tower hairpin for Sebastian Weldon. He lost a lot of ground to Parker DeLong, about 4 to 5 car lengths to be exact. And as we look back to this group, they've changed again. Garcia's gone back by on Teddy Musella. I don't think Aiden Ingrata will arrive at the doorstep of Enzo Vidmontien in time, but the tow down the front stretch might help him keep Max Garcia at bay if he gets a little bit of help in the straight line. White flag in the air. Here's his battle near the end of the top 10 as Gaffera goes through 2 and 3. Through 1 over to turn number 2. Garcia and Musella closing back up to Aiden Ingrata. Caleb Gaffera leading this duo right here. Parker DeLong, 4 cars up on Sebastian Weldon. A good final lap thanks to that mistake by Weldon dropping a tire out of this specific hairpin. Turn number 8 opened the gap up and has given Parker DeLong a lot of breathing room here to secure himself a second place result today.
Caleb Gaffara will see the checkered next time by as he works his way around the Newcastle circuit one final time. Almost a 3-second advantage he's enjoying right now as he's going to head around scoreboard and up to I-70 here shortly. But Caleb Gaffera.
Pass back behind. Garcia on Ingrata will go over to Gaffera to catch the checkered flag here this time. Caleb Gaffera, dominant run here today and coming to the checkered flag. Caleb Gaffera will win the Sunday main event at X30 Pro Junior. Then it'll be Parker DeLong, Sebastian Weldon, and look at this battle coming to the checkered flag. Musella will get a big help from Charlie Smith, and they both get by Garcia at the line.
Unbelievable racing out there for Caleb Gaffera. A winner at 106.628. His fast lap was his last lap through the top 10. Parker DeLong will finish second, followed by Sebastian Weldon, Max Taylor, Enzo Vidmontien. Through the top 10 in 6th, it was Teddy Musella, Charlie Smith, Max Garcia, Aiden Ingrata, and Luke Powers. That's your top 10 finishers. Your winner in KA100, in X30 Pro Junior, brought to you by Rawlison Performance Group. Your winner today, Caleb Gaffera.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, another main event knocked out here. X30 Masters coming your way. Next up, you're live on Kart Chaser for the U.S. Pro Kart Series season finale from Newcastle Motorsports Park. A beautiful afternoon of racing, and 3 more main events are still coming your way. Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex Rock engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParalleLusa.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment,
Look no further than Rev Performance Materials engine mounts, sprockets, and RK chains. Available online now at revperformancematerials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
Welcome back here to the U.S. Pro Kart Series season finale here, the Heartland Grand Prix at Newcastle Motorsports Park. X30 Masters presented by Speed Concepts Racing onto the circuit. Renato Yater-David leads the way. Laurentiu Mardan in second. Danilo Ramallo will line up in third as they begin the outlap here, and Danilo Ramallo in fourth as we get set for the lineup. Nicky Coelho snuck his way up into the top three at the end of that pre-final. He gets started to the inside of Ramallo on row number 2. Scott Kopp and Mario Barrios will make up row number 3. The reigning series champion Scott Kopp and the current points leader in Mario Barrios. John Bonanno's Comp Kart starts the inside of Martin Stone aboard the Lando Norris Kart in row number 4. That'll be Danny Robertson and Christian Vomier, your top 10. Scott Carapalati, Miguel Mir, Robert Mayer, Kim Carapalati, Scott Roberts, and Antonio Pizzonia Jr. Down the front stretch here, we get set for another day of action, another day of racing in X30 Masters into the tram lines.
Looking for a start. Yater-David and Mardan bringing them around. Green flag about to wave. Nope, not going to happen this time. Didn't quite like the looks of it. So we're going to go around one more time. Our X30 Masters will take another lap. False start for Renato David and Laurentiu Mardan.
Yeah, no green that time by here. This class normally known for a little more tame racing, but they've had some pretty good battles here. The pre-final today saw a lot of good speed out of Laurentiu Mardan, a lot of good speed out of nearly the entire top 6. Renato Yater-David had to fight for it to get himself a pole position starting spot for this main event. And when it all settled, he's still in the same position he started the main yesterday with that big-time win. Mardan was challenging him. Barrios was there yesterday. Barrios was close here in the pre-final, but then kind of seemed to fade near the end as a whole, so that's where he rolls off in that 6th position. But they'll round the I-70 corner. We'll try for attempt number 2.
One more time as they come around the kink on the pond straight, now down towards the flagman. He's spacing them out a little bit, slowing them down, trying to get a green, looking like they're in good shape. And we're racing into turn 1 here at Newcastle. Good start by Renato David. And inside, it's Nicky Coelho. It looks like they might have moved up into second, or that's Mardan, I believe, in the second. Coelho still in third. But a good start for Renato Yater-David as we get our X30 Masters underway. X30 Masters brought to you by Speed Concepts.
Yeah, so into the turn 5 complex. Renato Yater, Laurentiu Mardan, Nicky Coelho. 1, 2, 3, little gap back to Danilo Ramallo. He's going to send it on Coelho in the cell tower. Gets himself by and kind of bangs wheels with Coelho a little bit. So Coelho will lose another spot as Scott Kopp moves into the 4th position. Coelho back to 5th. Barrios still 6th. And they go single file to the green corner here for the first time.
And Nicky Coelho, who had a good run in the pre-final, already gets shuffled back a spot or two, so he's back in 4th spot. David leads the way as they come around the green corner now and up the I-70 straight around the corner, and we'll head back down our way around I-70 and back the pond straight to complete lap number 1. And already Renato Yater-David with about a 5 kart length advantage over Laurentiu Mardan and Danilo Ramallo. Half a second advantage from 1st to 2nd. Scott Kopp is up to 3rd. Nicky Coelho got shuffled back to 5th. But right now, David has gapped a little bit, not a lot, but about a half a second on the field in lap 1. Scott Roberts already on the move in the 528, up 5 spots to 10th. But the leader, Renato Yader-David, with a half a second advantage as we work our way through lap number 2.
And there was a lot of kind of fisticuffs going on between Mario Barrios and Martin Stone just beyond the top 5. That's what's given them such a big gap from Nicky Coelho's rear bumper backwards as they were trading the 6th position back and forth. And Barrios' hand went in the air about as much as he was on the wheel, signaling back to the group behind him. As there goes Danilo Romalo down the inside of Laurentiu Mardan. He'll take over second. Mardan's like, hey, man, think about this. What are you doing? We got the leader. He's getting away. Let me go. And he wouldn't let him go. And so Romalo takes over second. Mardan back to P3.
I think we have a breakdown in communication here, Xander. They don't quite know what those signals are, but it's not working. And every lap, every step of the way, David is loving it. Renato Yader-David, rather, is gapping him now 2 laps in, and he's already nearly a second over second place.
Yeah, that's a nice gap here for Renato Yader-David as through turn number 4 we go. Danilo Romalo, a car length up on Laurentiu Mardan, and it's tightly packed for 2nd through 5th thanks to all that passing. But like you said, already getting a big lead, and with how fast Renato Yader is this weekend, I wouldn't want to give him a lead either. As Scott Kopp tries to move on the inside of Mardan, gets the door slammed shut there in the cell tower hairpin. He remains in the 4th spot.
Kind of like we talked about with Caleb Gaffera. If you're going to beat him, you got to get him behind you and make him work for it. And if David can go out there and run his own race, he's going to be awfully tough to catch. Not to jinx the rest of the field, only 2 laps in, but I'm telling you right now, he gets a second on the field and runs his own line at his own pace. They're going to have trouble catching him unless they can just behave themselves, stay in line, and get a good draft.
The big question will be how quick is really Danilo Romalo? He's pulled a car length or 2 on Laurentiu Mardan. It's really going to be up to him to try and run down Renato Yader-David because it doesn't look like Mardan's too connected to him on the straights. At least that time he was faster, and the fastest overall was Scott Roberts, who unfortunately had a bad pre-final that put him down the order. So he's up a number of spots already. Scott Roberts in that Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed's moving forward. He's in the 2nd pack behind this leading group of 5 that is kind of coming back together again thanks to Romalo going a little quicker. He's reeling in Renato Yader-David just so slightly.
A 1/10 of a second that lap, so they've got plenty of time if he can continue a 1/10 of a second a lap. The point is he can't be losing ground. He's got to be gaining ground. So we'll see how they turn out on this lap. They don't need to be racing each other. They need to race the race, so to speak, race the track and race David. If they start racing each other, they're not going to catch him. They stay in line and use the drafting power. There's a good possibility they can. They head to I-70. And from this standpoint, I'm not so sure they haven't closed in a little sooner than I thought they would. They round I-70 corner, head down the pond straight now, and we'll get a line on what the gap is. Last lap, it was 0.736 seconds. They cross the line now, and the gap is 0.618. So once again, a 1/10 of a second. They can catch up pretty quick if they get a 1/10 of a second a lap.
Yeah, they definitely can here. So through turns 1, 2, 3, over to 4. And now on the short chute up the hill to turn at number 5 here. Scott Kopp on the bumper of Mardan. He's kind of looking maybe for a way by soon. He was purple last time by. You compare the lap times again to Renato Yader. They were even or a little better in the case of Kopp, but then the leader of the pack, Danilo Romalo, gave back a 1/10 of a second. 12 to go. Still a lot of time. Still early in this one. Only 4 complete, but they need to make up ground, and right now they're not consistently doing that. It's kind of back and forth, lap to lap.
They've got to stay in line. Kopp has caught the group, and as a group of 4, I have to believe they can cut through the air a lot better than David by himself. But if they start racing each other, get side by side, and start cutting into too much air, they're going to slow down, and David's going to stretch it out. They round I-70 corner, head down the pond straight one more time. Doesn't look like they've gained a whole lot this time. Last lap, it was a 0.618 gap. This lap, it is 0.739. They lost a 1/10 of a second that time. So now you got to start thinking, is David pacing himself? Is he thinking, okay, I need to cut a few good laps here, save my tires, keep a pace. They're about a half a second behind me. I can live with that. I just won't let him get any closer.
Yeah, hard to tell what's going through Renato Yader-David's mind. I can tell you, I feel like Scott Kopp is, kind of biding his time behind Mardan, maybe saving a little bit, but realizing he could go almost at any time to take over that 3rd position, as Nicky Coelho might be feeling in a similar spot, just kind of riding there. Mario Barrios was with this group early on, then had got into that scuffle with Martin Stone, and since then he hasn't really gotten rolling too much either. He's kind of just riding his race back in that 6th position, watching this lead group exit the scoreboard hairpin and head up the hill to the I-70 corner.
Looks like they might be a little bit closer this time. Hard to say. They go over the hump and then they make the left around I-70 to head back our direction. And I'm not so sure they haven't closed the gap a little bit. We will see, although we'll tell you, David is really strong on the pond straight. As they head into turn 1, our gap is now 5.70. So 0.2 of a second gained on that lap. That's huge. That's the biggest gain they've had yet. Renato David, your leader, but Danilo Romalo only a half a second back. Lorenzo Mardan right behind him in 3rd. 4th is Scott Kopp, and 5th, Nicky Coelho. That group is closing in on David. Fast lap of the race was lap 5. Nicky Coelho, a 106.539.
Out of the cell tower hairpin here this time, Danilo Romalo, 3 kart lengths ahead of Lorenzo Mardan, pulling a little bit, hit his best lap of the session last time by, so that's good news again for the group, and it was 0.2 better than the leader. It's been needed, though, because the lead's opened up quite a ways, so he's got to get back to him. He's closing, I think, a little more this time as well, getting a sniff of the draft, and so is Scott Roberts, closing up to the back of this entire lead pack. He's been digging all session long. Scott Roberts last time by was also faster than race leader Renato Yater-David. So if Danilo Romalo gets there, if they start to fight for that top spot, don't count out Scott Roberts to potentially spoil the party here with 9 laps to go. We're just getting into it. 7 complete as we hit the halfway marker next time by.
I think Danilo Romalo is bringing them all to the party as he has closed in now to less than a half a second, 0.485, another 1/10 of a second gain, closer than they've been since probably lap number 2 as we mark the halfway mark next time by. Danilo Romalo, last lap, 0.485 second separation. Mardan in 3rd, Kopp, Coelho, Barrios, and Roberts. They're all within striking distance. David is not pulling away anymore. In fact, that gap by the naked eye clearly is closer than it's ever been.
Definitely closer here as they go towards the scoreboard corner. It looks like one loosely tied 7-car pack here with Scott Roberts going 0.3 better than the race leader last time by, 0.2 better than anyone else in that pack. So he's hunting them all down. Barrios is also turning the wick up a little bit, finding some speed. So as they come together, who will be the first one to really break the ice and start the swarm down in turn 1 here, this time by 8 in. 8 to go as the halfway marker's given. Romalo, that time another 2.5 taking off the lead.
And for all practical purposes now, there is no gap. They're within drafting distance. And unless David can find a little bit of horsepower here, a little bit of boost, I think you're going to see them close right on up to the rear bumper. They're almost there now. And with Romalo and Mardan nose to tail and right behind them Kopp and Coelho, that 4-car draft is going to close in. As you see now, they round the cell tower corner, head down towards the green corner, and they'll see him at the scoreboard corner here in just a little bit for that right-hander. Renato Yater-David has his hands full.
We'll keep our eye on the action as it slowly is brewing here in X30 Master. Meanwhile, let's go down trackside. Our David Land is caught up with a happy Caleb Gaffera after a double win day. David?
Boy, Caleb Gaffera, that was excellence personified today. 2 wins. I mean, they were both just dominant wins. Tell me about them.
I mean, in KA, I was like, it's hard to get away in KA because draft is big in KA. So once I knew I got away, I was like, okay, I think I can hang on to this.
And what about the race we just saw? I mean, that was just as dominant from you. Just kind of the outside of an engine failure, that was the story of your weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to wait until air pressure came in. Once the air pressure came in, I knew I'd be pretty quick. So,
how do you feel when you're this quick? I mean, what's that feeling like? Because not many people get to experience that, believe it or not.
I mean, it's just great feeling because you're just like, you can be quicker than mostly everyone, and you just can go fast by yourself.
Caleb Gaffera going fast. Back to you, Zan.
Thanks, David. And right as we went to them, it came unglued here in X30 Master. Danilo Romalo stuffed Renato Yater, and they went 2 and 3 abreast coming down the front straightaway, side by side for the race lead. And now Romalo leads over Mardan, Kopp, and then David. Barrios has gotten himself by Nicky Coelho for 5th, and Scott Roberts is slowly latching on a 6-driver train with 6 laps to go.
Unbelievable. They caught David. Didn't think they would. He had such a gap early. but it's Romalo, Mardan, Kopp, David back and forth, and Barrios, your top 5. Nicky Coelho, Scott Roberts, they're all right there within about a second and a half of each other. But Danilo Romalo, who ran strong in the pre-final, ran second actually, now leading the way with Mardan in second. Renato Yader David, didn't think I'd be saying this, but he's got his work cut out for him now.
Yeah, he definitely does. Back to fourth just like that. So out of the cell tower corner here for Danilo Romalo. A car length up on Laurentiu Mardan, and all 4 drivers can fit into frame now comfortably towards the green corner. Out of the green corner this time, a car length advantage for Romalo holds. Will they try to challenge him at the end of the front straightaway? Hard to tell. Mardan's had a lot of top-end speed based on the pre-final today. Not sure if he made any adjustments to it or if he left it stock from where he was this morning, because if that's the case, we could see a really good end of the straightaway in the draft kind of pass out of Laurentiu Mardan. Here he comes. Good run towards Romalo. He'll tuck behind the wheel. Big run coming for Mardan. Tucks out, looks inside. Not enough this time.
I think that was a good choice. If he had a dive bombed him there, it could have been carnage. So a good choice to back off. Mardan took a peek, didn't have the move, backed off, and that was the right thing to do. Stays in line in second. But how about Scott Kopp all the way up to third? He's kind of peeking around there like he might go and battle for second.
Yeah, he might be able to get into it here. Scott Kopp's been kind of silent this weekend, just riding in the grouping, but he's right there in the lead pack here in this afternoon main event, and he's on the bumper of Mardan as the exit turns 9 and 10.
Up over the hill towards turn 11, the green corner, and then they'll head down the hill and approach the scoreboard corner right now in the right-hander, and a little bit of a gap right now. Ramillo, as they're racing behind him, and Danilo Ramillo enjoying the fact that they're too wide behind him, and he's got a little bit of a gap for a change.
My goodness, the hand signals are just throwing me for a loop there, although I think that was actually pretty well received between Mario Barrios and Renato Yader. And Barrios gets the 4th spot. Kopp went by Mardan, then Mardan back right by him. Kopp going to try again here at the end of the straightaway. Not enough juice. Mardan holds on to the 2nd spot over to turn number 2.
The more they race, the further back they're going to get. A half a second gap now between Danilo Romalo and second place Laurentiu Mardan. Scott Kopp, Mario Barrios, Renato Yader David back to 5th. 6th is Nicky Coelho. 7th is Scott Roberts as they work their way through the cell tower area of the course, and they'll make that left-hand turn, take the short straight, and then head back towards the green corner. And right now, Romalo's still enjoying about a 10 kart length advantage. 5th spot being battled by Renato Yader David and Mario Barrios. David's got to make some moves here pretty quick, or he's not going to have a shot at this. We've only got 3 to go next time by.
Yeah, 3 laps to go. Look at Barrios. He's got shuffled all the way to the back of the grouping. Nicky Coelho's gone by. Roberts up into the top 5 with 3 to go, like you mentioned here. Barrios looking to go back up quickly on the inside of Coelho. 4-6, end of the group. He'll get by. Mario Barrios takes back the 6th position, and just like that, they're separated. How does Mardan fare here to run down Romalo this time? Yader David has fallen way back. Scott Roberts on his tail through turns 1 and 2. 2.5 laps to go, and Danilo Romalo last time by did slow down a little bit. A 1/10 of a second advantage for Laurentiu Mardan and Scott Kopp as Romalo drops a tire. That could be good news here if he gets a little bit sideways through 5, and he does. Here comes the cavalry. Laurentiu Mardan and Scott Kopp only 2 car lengths away to the cell tower.
Is it safe to say that Danilo Romalo is hearing footsteps? They are almost on his rear bumper now as they leave the cell tower corner and head back down towards the green corner and on to scoreboard. And Danilo Romalo now has lost that advantage, and Laurentiu Mardan is ready to pounce. And don't rule out Scott Kopp in 3rd. He's waiting in the wings. A little bit further back, Renato Yader David not out of the mix yet, and Scott Roberts in 5th. All those with a shot at it, but Danilo Romalo's got to gather it back up or he's going to lose that top spot.
Yeah, he's got to really get going here. He did a good couple hairpins there, but the damage already done. Mardan's going to get a big toe down this front stretch. He might even get a little help from Scott Kopp, and he will. Kopp going to push him to turn 1. 2 to go here this time in X30 Master. 3-driver battle up front. Danilo Romalo, Laurentiu Mardan, and Scott Kopp through turn number 3.
I think it's about to get a little crazy, Xander, because Danilo Romalo has a handful of Laurentiu Mardan and Scott Kopp, and when they start racing, Renato Yader David and Scott Roberts are going to pounce. I haven't ruled Renato Yader David out of the win yet. I think he's still got a decent chance.
He definitely could, although that time Mardan sent it deep. I don't know if it was the defend or what from Scott Kopp, but that just cost him a lot of time. Couple updates here for the paddock. Parker DeLong, Josh Holtz, Christian Miles. Please report to post-race tech. Josh Holtz, Christian Miles, Parker DeLong go to the tech building. And look at this. Mardan must have thought that there was no shot at Romalo because he is fighting with Scott Kopp. Kopp's kind of like, what's going on? Here comes Renato Yater to the inside, and they're going to get back single file, but they're too far back now. 2 to go. Coming to the white flag. They've given Romalo a big-time lead.
Unbelievable. In that short of a time, the gap that can be created when they race behind you. But that's exactly what happened. Scott Kopp up to second, but too little too late. I can't imagine with a 1.2-second gap, Kopp can close in on Danilo Romalo. Romalo just has to hit his marks. Lorenzo Mardan may have a shot at second. Renato Yater hasn't given up, nor Scott Roberts, but Danilo Romalo literally in the driver's seat right now, a 1.2-second advantage over second place Scott Kopp.
And look at them all battling here. Kopp's now back to fourth as David got by in 3. Mardan got by in turn number 5 and 6. Scott Kopp back to fourth. Scott Roberts right behind him there in the 5th position. Coelho 6th. Danilo Romalo out of frame here. He is long gone from this battle for second. Renato Yater will rebound here, and it will be an almost perfect weekend for David. A win yesterday and the pre-final win in both pole positions as well. But the main event here on Sunday, clawing his way up the order, Danilo Romalo in the REM Cosmic will round the final corner. He'll come down the front straightaway comfortably with the lead, and he'll score the main event victory on the final round in X30 Master.
What a drive by Danilo Romalo. And the opportunity was presented to him when he got ahead, and they raced behind him. So your winner, Danilo Romalo, finishing second will be Renato Yater on a late race charge, coming from first to sixth, back to second. Lorenzo Mardan finishes third. Scott Kopp, Scott Roberts, Nicky Coelho, Mario Barrios, Danny Robertson, Martin Stone, and Miguel Meyer. That rounds out your top 10. Your winner of Speed Concepts X30 Masters, Danilo Romalo. Next class onto the track for their final is going to be Mini Swift.
How you doing? My name is Mike Doty from Mike Doty Racing from Orange County, New York. We're about an hour north of New York City. We're a full-service kart shop that we supply IAME, Rotax, and all rock engines. We sell OTK parts and all the tires for all the different series. We support USPKS, SCUSA, Rotax, which is the Stars and Stripes, and the Rock Winter Tour. What we do is we try to get the drivers better by data, driver coaching, and setup. We have a lot of good drivers that come through our program. We have a lot of experience. I've been doing it for almost 35 years, and we just try to translate that to all our customers.
For more info about Mike Doty Racing, you can contact us at mikedotyracing@gmail.com or call us at 845-551-0572.
Welcome back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park. Couple reminders here in the paddock. Here, Randy, what do you got for us?
I want to remind everyone to return their rental transponders to the USPKS trailer. Please don't forget, some of them have gotten by scoring. You must return your transponders to the USPKS trailer. And also, award ceremony will follow the podiums and tech, and that'll be for the top 5 finishers in points. So again, please return your transponders. Make sure you don't forget, return your transponders to the USPKS trailer, and don't forget about the awards ceremony, top 5 finishers and points in the Sportsman's Lounge.
And nice, at least enough of the D&J Intermodal Services Mini Swift drivers to give you another opportunity to talk through those tech
I
issues
appreciate that.
as they waved off that first start. So it gives us time also to bring you to the starting lineup here for the Mini Swift main event. Isaac Malcutt will start on the pole here. What a day it's been. Just a complete 180 from yesterday, at least when it came to the final. He was good yesterday, got going early, was consistent in the pre-final, but even better today. And now he's looking to start from the pole where yesterday's main event got taken out running inside the top three. Carson Weinberg's yesterday's main event, first across the line, unfortunately didn't make it out of the tech room. He rolls off on the outside of row number one. Salvador De La Vecchia, Lucas Palacio, row two. Michael McGoy, Alessandro Truscio, Keelan Harvick, Devin Waltz, Tristan Murphy, Kai Johnson. Let's go racing, boys and girls, down to turn one. Big time shove on the inside for De La Vecchia. He nearly grabs the lead from Malcutt as they go to 2 and 3.
That got a little ugly, but Malcutt came back on, swung wide to kind of set up for the corner, and then De La Vecchia got inside. The two of them got together a little bit, but Malcutt bounced off and then kept going straight, took the lead, and now Malcutt and I believe De La Vecchia up to second. So a good start out there by Isaac Malcutt. They gap a little bit over third place as they work their way through the back part of the circuit near the cell tower corner. Isaac Malcutt, your early leader.
Yeah, and they're still 2 and 3 abreast as one driver's going to get knocked in the dirt there out of the cell tower hairpin. We'll pick up first and second as they go towards the green corner. Malcutt, Weinberg, De La Vecchia, 1, 2, 3. It looks like Harvick with a fantastic start from 7th has gone up to 4th on the grid, so he's leapfrogged a few already. Palacio into 5th. Side by side back down the order there. That is going to be Brady Shad making up a position on one of the energy entries. And up to the I-70 corner, Lucas Palacio looking for 4th on Keelan Harvick just behind the top 3. He'll get that spot as well, so here they come. A little over-under, though, maybe. Harvick gets down low. Palacio gets clear. Michael McGoy to the outside. Side by side for 4th across the line as their single file for the lead. Palacio, Harvick, and it'll bring, I believe, one more parallel up there. I believe that's Tristan Murphy getting by Michael McGoy as well.
Isaac Malcutt, the leader, by just a short distance over Carson Weinberg. They enjoy about a half a second gap from Salvador De La Vecchia, Lucas Palacio, and Keelan Harvick. That's your top 5 working way through turn 4. That second group there with Harvick and De La Vecchia, Palacio, all of them right together there. They're trying to chase down those top 3, Malcutt and Weinberg. So Malcutt still leads the way. Weinberg second, De La Vecchia not far back in third. They've gapped a little bit, but it's early in this race, and I think you'll find a lot more closeness as we work our way through, unless they start racing behind them. But if they can stay in line, don't be surprised if they close in on that lead group.
Yeah, here they come out of the scoreboard corner. Palacio's pulled a little bit away from Harvick. He's just a little bit too far back to get any help from the top 3 as they go side by side. Harvick's going to get freight trained by both Murphy and McGoy. So Keelan Harvick drops back to 7th. Down the front straightaway, Isaac Malcutt continues to lead. Cameron Weinberg right behind. So is Salvador De La Vecchia. They're pulling away from this second group here through turns 1 and 2.
And that's smart racing if they keep doing it. Fast lap of the race. The third driver in that lead draft, Salvador De La Vecchia, a 113.492. If they stay in line and stay smooth and don't race each other, don't go side by side, but stay in line, it'll be up to the 3 of them. I think they can maintain that space. They start racing, and it'll just take a moment, as we've seen earlier today. It doesn't take long when that lead group starts racing for the second group to catch up. But right now, the fastest on the track is in that lead group, Salvador De La Vecchia, as they round the cell phone corner and now head over the hill down to the green corner and fast approaching scoreboard corner, where they make that right square 90 degree, or 180, I should say. They'll make that 180 and head back to I-70 ever so slightly. A small advantage for Isaac Malcutt over Carson Weinberg, and he's got a little bit of a gap back to Salvador De La Vecchia as they round I-70, heading down to the stripe. One more lap. It'll be lap number 3 out of this 14-lapper, and Isaac Malcutt leads them across the stripe.
Yeah, Malcutt will lead them. De La Vecchia losing a lot of time there down the front straightaway. Palacio's group should catch him. An update on laps where they're at. Palacio's group was a little bit slower than Weinberg and Malcutt. They pulled away 2/10 that time by. So looking to be a 2-horse race if they stay the way they are, headed to turn number 5 with 11 laps to go, 3 complete. Back down to this second pack here. Palacio, as Harvick making a move. That time was on Murphy. Tristan Murphy falls back to 7th. Harvick back up to 6th. So Keelan Harvick in the Hunt Brothers Pizza Harvick Racing entry makes up another spot back forward. He was as high as 3rd or high as 4th. He's been kind of riding back in that 6th spot the last lap or two. Picks up a position, and on the move coming to that grouping, Kai Johnson up 2 spots is starting to get there aboard the Energy. Here he comes inside looking. Tristan Murphy move Kai Johnson up another spot. He'll get in higher in the top 10, move him to 7th.
Brady Shad, a fast mover, 8 spots, started 17th, already in the top 10. And Max Christea, 4 spots up to 11th. So good run by Max. Fast lap of the race. Alessandro Truchot running in 10th currently, a 1:12.563. But Isaac Malkwit still leading the way as they complete another lap. It's 4 laps in the books, 10 laps to go. And a nice little gap right now for Malkwit and Weinberg as they stay in line, racing smart, trying to gap the rest of the field.
Yeah, they're continuing to pull away. You saw Harvick get shuffled back by Johnson and Murphy. Kai Johnson now up 4 spots with the fastest lap time, nearly a second better than the leaders. The leaders that time were pretty even to Lucas. Well, they weren't actually even. Palacio gained a lot of time, getting a bit of a tow off of Salvador De La Vecchia. So De La Vecchia falling off the leading duo could be a really big saving point for Lucas Palacio and Michael McGoy. They're making up some major headway as Keelan Harvick stuffs down the inside on Tristan Murphy. Now Alessandro Truchot getting up into the mix here in the top 10.
And they are gobbling up De La Vecchia as they have closed in and will, I'm going to say they'll probably get by him here before long because they've really closed the gap on him. Consistently, Xander, the lead group of Malkwit and Weinberg are about 1/10 of a second faster than the field.
Yeah, they are a good bit quicker, and De La Vecchia a good bit slower, so that's why they're going to pass right here. They're looking to do it. Palacio looked a little bit too early, ran out of steam. De La Vecchia holds for now. Lucas Palacio losing some time while he waits behind him through turn number 3. The leaders headed over to 4, on the hill over to 5, and up the run into turn number 5 here as there's the second group. Here comes Palacio inside for 3rd. Got him down the inside. Lucas Palacio to P3. Unfortunately, Michael McGoy not able to follow. He'll get run wide by both Johnson and Harvick, and everybody's going to swarm 3 wide. Brady Shad to the bottom, and he'll get by. And Harvick with a big-time send on Kai Johnson pays for it. Loses 2 spots in the process. So it is all shaken up here in the second pack.
A lot of shuffling going on back in that second group, and that just plays into the hand of Isaac Malkwit and Carson Weinberg. We'll see what Lucas Palacio has. He's pretty quick, and we got a spinner out there, the 127 going backwards on the track. That's not good. Gets turned around.
Yeah, the 127 Parolin that was running about midway through the field as up front, single file still this time by. It'll be 6 laps complete, 8 laps to go. Malkwit and Weinberg, where is Palacio lap time wise? He was 1.5 seconds back last time by, this time 1.7. So he's got some work to do. We'll see if the lap times can come for him. He had to work his way hard by Salvador De La Vecchia, but he's been quick. He might be able to run up to these top 2 drivers.
Lucas Palacio looks fast, and that last lap he had to kind of get back into his rhythm. He had a lot of work to get into that 3rd position. Now that he can run his line, his pace, we'll see if he can close in and turn some quicker lap times. He's got enough time to do it, I think, but he's going to have to start making up time immediately. This next lap, right now, it's a 1.7 gap. We got to see that number get smaller if he's going to catch Malkwit and Weinberg. Otherwise, it's going to boil down to Malkwit and Weinberg for the win. And if they keep racing, it's not going to happen.
Kai Johnson making that move on De La Vecchia. He gets himself up into 4th as the leaders come through the scoreboard hairpin. Now Johnson goes on Palacio. So Kai Johnson making moves up to 3rd. Long way to go forward here, but he's got 7 laps to do it. Can Kai Johnson become the leader up to the front of the field? Alessandro Truchot's also joined up to that pack. He's 4th in line. Behind him is Keelan Harvick, and then it's a few stragglers that have faded backwards. Tristan Murphy and Michael McGoy have lost touch. So let's see what Kai Johnson can do. He owns the fastest lap time of the race with the pass made, but with the tow. So take that for what you will. He was even to the 2 leaders drafting together. Can he be faster than him? Hard to say. We're going to find out this lap here with 6.5 laps to go. Kai Johnson has his number 157 machine leading the way through turn number 5.
2.1 second advantage now for Malkwit and Weinberg over Kai Johnson, but Johnson is probably the quickest one in the group, and if anybody can pull him to the front, he can. We'll see if Kai Johnson's got anything for those top two as they go over the hill and head back down towards the green corner as they work their way back down the hill through that right-hander, the scoreboard corner, and work their way back up I-70, and that's where they're at right now, and we'll see if they can possibly get in some laps that are going to close that gap a little bit. But right now, I don't see it happening. Still a pretty wide margin between first, second, and that second group. Malkwit and Weinberg have raced so smart out there. Not a bobble, not a pass, not any kind of a feint, any kind of a, I'm going to slip in here, I want to lead for a while. These kids have been disciplined, and right now that gap is 1.8. I say that, and they lost about 0.2 of a second. But we've still got, looks like we've got 8 laps to go. So we've got 6 laps left, I should say. 8 laps in, 6 laps left. They've got to move quickly. If they're gaining 1/10 of a second, they don't have enough time. A tenth of a second a lap, they don't have enough time.
It looked good at 0.2 there, but then Palacio just went by Kai Johnson into turn number 5. That one pass, that'll start to put the nails in the coffin for this second group to reel in the leaders. I thought they were making up some good time. They had a 1:12.8. Leaders at a 1:13 flat, but obviously Palacio thinks he's better with him in front. So Johnson back to the 4th spot. Now he'll pass back on Palacio, brings Alessandro Truscio with him. He'll go by. Palacio back to P5.
So we look now at the front two. Isaac Malkwit, who's led the whole way. Carson Weinberg, who's got in tow early in the race. Those two have checked out. Now you're Weinberg, and you're thinking, okay, I think I might have something for him, but I can't show it too early.
Yeah, I think at this point, Carson Weinberg, he can fully tell where he's better or worse than Isaac Malkwit. Malkwit's really just kind of guessing based on where he looks back to maybe gauge on certain sections of the track if he's better or if he's getting tapped on the rear bumper or not, depending on which corner they exit out of, how long it takes Weinberg to get there. So the information is all coming into Carson Weinberg's hands. Brandon Lemke, we heard from his interview, he felt like he knew that he had the speed on the straightaways to win that KA final halfway through it, just by judging where he was compared to Alex Stanfield. In the case of Carson Weinberg, he might have that same feeling by this point, knowing he could just wait till the last straightaway and then draft on by. Hard to tell, but that could be what's going through Carson Weinberg's mind, and that would be a big vote of confidence if he does think he could wait.
And I've watched these two for the last few laps, and there honestly isn't anywhere in the racetrack where I see Malkwit gap Weinberg. He's there. In the corners, in the tight part of the course, on the straights, he's there. And that tells me that he's got what he wants when he needs it, when he wants it. So that's not going to bode well for Isaac Malkwit when Malkwit tries to hold him off. You got to believe Weinberg can pretty much name the spot he makes the pass. The only thing is if he makes it too early, it may give Malkwit a chance to get him back.
So that second group, you saw them passing a little bit more. Truscio getting passed by Palacio. He's back to Kai Johnson's bumper at the line. They were 1/10 better than the leaders, but they're still too far back without a lot of battling in the final 4 laps to get there. So through turn number 3, Kai Johnson still leads this group. Carson Weinberg, Isaac Malkwit, not missing anything out front. Oh, we got a big problem here at turn number 1. Got knocked in between the barriers. I think that's going to be Devin Waltz in the 111. He was 15th across the line and got turned sideways, and he's going to be able to rejoin this one near the back of the field.
And they come around the cell tower now and head back over the hill and down towards the green corner. And Isaac Malkwit still leading the way with Carson Weinberg right on the rear bumper.
Let's go side by side with the leaders here. We'll focus on the leaders so we don't miss the paddle for the lead. At the same time, we'll go side by side and catch up with Justin Ataconis. David?
Well, I think we're all excited for X30 Pro. Maybe not so much this guy because he's going to be right in the middle of a dang war. Is that what we're expecting? Is it going to be as crazy as we're kind of hyping it up to be?
I think so. I think it's last race of the season. Everyone's just kind of out there, have fun. Points kind of settled. It's just gonna go. I think it's just gonna be a war. Norberg, Ramos, they're coming from the back. I think it's gonna get wild real fast.
Have you ever been in a situation like that where a race could potentially get this ugly? I mean, how do you win a race like that? How do you keep your nose clean?
I could tell you, I've never experienced something like this. Like it's brewing. It's been brewing all year. I think it's just gonna kind of spill over now and just gonna get wild.
The hype machine is at maximum volume. We're ready to go. very, very shortly.
Thank you, David. We'll go back to David and Caleb Smock for their insights when we get set with this mini Swift race wrapped up. 2.5 laps to go. We'll keep the cameras up front. Isaac Malkut versus Carson Weinberg here to the finish. The group behind them, Lucas Palacio, Kai Johnson, Alessandro Truccio, and Keelan Harvick. They've gotten a lot of airtime, and they've still shuffled a little bit here in the closing stages as they've got now a company joining them again. Michael McGoy closing up to Keelan Harvick, but the leaders are coming to 2 laps to go this time by. And now they're going to pass, finally. Weinberg to the inside of Malkut. He'll pull the trigger, coming to the 2 to go signal. And Carson Weinberg to the lead this time by.
And you got to wonder, is that something where Malkut might have said, you know what, I think I may need to see where my strengths are, and left it a little wide in I-70 corner to get a look at second spot and see where he can go.
So he definitely could be. Now over to turn 2, over to turn number 3. The 2-driver battle has been brewing all race long. They've just been counting down the laps, building the cushion that they needed. It's a 1.9 second gap back to that second group, and we followed a lot of this race. But that second group can't seem to sort itself out. No one's really happy to ride where they are in the line, so it's all just been a lot of passing. These two have built that gap nicely. They've waited. They've been patient. They've been fast enough together that they've been able to build the gap the way they'd like to. And over the curb to turn 10 to turn number 11, a lap and a half remaining for Carson Weinberg and Isaac Malkut.
And Weinberg now with not even a cart length. Inches, I tell you, from first to second. It has allowed that second group to close in a little bit. So I don't know. It's possible they could, if they really get racy up front, that second group may have a shot, but they head down for the white flag. Malkut looking in the rear view, looking from the second spot, and now going low, Weinberg protecting, and they head down for the final lap. Over and under by Malkut. He slips to the inside, can't quite do it. They enter turn 1, Weinberg by a half a cart length.
Yeah, Weinberg still leading as they go through turn number 3. Final lap underway. Isaac Malkut through 4. In the blacked out nitro cart, he goes high. Weinberg goes low to 5. The blocking begins now, and Malkut can't run it around the outside, can't cross him over. A series of switchbacks, maybe to the inside here in 7. He'll run him to the edge of the racetrack. Opens up for the cell tower hairpin, crosses him over. Malkut with a nose, side by side. He'll go through turn 9, side by side to 10. Malkut should complete the pass. Can he do it? He does. He gets to the lead here into turn number 11.
Nice little gap around turn 11 as they head down now to the scoreboard corner. Malkut with a cart length advantage. You got to believe that Weinberg's going to draft up as they head turns I-70.
Big contact there in the second group here. Isaac Malkut, Carson Weinberg, the battle for the lead end of the I-70 corner. Final time on through. Over out of a turn, the I-70 turn, down the front straightaway. It'll come down to Carson Weinberg versus Isaac Malkut. He's going to go wide. Weinberg touches the grass and across the line. Malkut will win. Weinberg frustrated in second. And this mad dash for that second group. The podium spot goes to Kai Johnson.
Lucas Palacio will finish 4th. Tristan Murphy 5th, followed by Keelan Harvick, Alessandro Truccio, Salvador Della Vecchia, Brady Shad, and Michael McGoy. Your winner, Isaac Malkut.
So with that here, the Mini Swift main event is all wrapped up. We've got the X30 Pro Division coming your way shortly here. Caleb Smock and David Land have done a great job bringing you all the coverage. We talked to Justin Ataconis, of course. He said, man, it feels like it's been building up not just this weekend, all season. And that's just a bit of what will happen when you dominate the way Rawlson Performance Group has. You hurt a lot of feelings, Randy.
You do, and this is the pinnacle. It's the last race of the day. It's the fastest race. It's the pros. It's the X30 pros. And, you know, Ryan, the whole storyline. Ryan Norberg's been dominant all year. The streak was broken yesterday. And here we sit now with the final on Sunday. Norberg's got something to prove. Diego Ramos is starting from the back. He's got something to prove. Then you got the drivers up front that think they deserve to be up there and they want to win this thing. And a lot of craziness in between. So it's a recipe for some real exciting racing. Can't wait to get it started.
Yeah, I can't wait either here. Let's get set, and we'll take you through your starting lineup here for your X30 Pro Division. Well, actually, before we do, let's catch you up on what we've got here. So that X30 Pro pre-final was absolute chaos. Jeremy Fletcher qualified great on qualified 4th. worked his way up to second, then to the lead on Hayden Jones. And then from there, as soon as he got to the lead, he started blocking, backed the lead group up, brought the field into it, and everybody was taking their shot at Ryan Norberg and Nate Cicero. Everyone except Jones, who got away scot-free. And as the race went on, it got nastier and nastier, and it led to this point right here. Diego Ramos and Ryan Norberg had been going at it for quite some time already. First of all here, this is Norberg getting shoved off the racetrack, but he thought it was by Marian Kremers. He eventually gave Kremers the business back later on, and that was really just an interesting deal. And then we go back to this clip here. Diego Ramos blocking the inside. Norberg finally moves him out of the way, and then they make contact going 3 wide in a tight section. It pops Ramos over the curb and into Norberg, and then to both of them, a war of words at that point. And if we go back one more time to see it here, this was already 3 laps of Ramos and Norberg passing back and forth. Norberg maybe a little bit faster. Ramos trying to keep him behind him, blocking, gets moved, and then at that point here, that little contact with the curb collected them onto each other. And again, if we go back to that other clip, this was earlier on in the session with Marian Kremers getting pushed down the long straightaway with them coming together. So it was a wild pre-final. Here it is. You can see Kremers getting pushed, and then eventually he was kind of glued onto Norberg's rear bumper, and that's what sent Norberg back to the point where Ramos could get to him, because Norberg was only back about 6th at that point. He ended up back around 9th or 10th. And now Ryan Norberg, the unofficial series champion, is going to roll off in 25th position. Let's take you through from the back of the grid to the top because we've got the time. Vinicius Ponce and Donovan Bonilla, Norberg's teammate, 27th and 26th with some work to do. Bonilla, one of the rookie stars of the weekend, I would say, in the RPG Cosmics. Been super fast, but some bad luck marred him here today with a crash in the pre-final that took him out. Then again to his inside will be Ryan Norberg. And right ahead of Norberg on the next row on the outside lane, it'll be PSL Karting's Diego Ramos. He's joined to the inside by Hao Peng Zhang. Row number 11 will be Zachary Mabry and Mariana Reyes. And then we get to your top 20. Grace Hemmard, and to her inside, Joshua Carr, who qualified 5th here today. But a rough run for the opening couple laps sent him back, and it was just kind of a downward slide with a lot of contact for the comp kart driver in the 395. He rolls off in 19th. Row number 9 will be Ricky Liu in the number 345 to the outside, and Braden Eves, who have been up a number of spots after some wholesale changes to that MPG Motorsports Will Power Kart, but again, having to go wide to that crazy crash with Norberg and Ramos, he rolls off 17th. Santiago Fernandez and Justin Ataconis, who we spoke to right before here, will make up row number 8. Ataconis looking just to kind of hopefully get a top 5, maybe a top 10 out of it. That's what he said will be a solid result for him here this weekend. Jack Jeffers has had a lot of pace throughout most of the day. Was in the top 5 yesterday. Not a great pre-final for him today. He rolls off on the outside of row 7 alongside the 374 Kart Republic of Aiden Fox. You go up the order then, Oliver Hodgson, the other comp kart factory driver here this weekend, rolls to the outside of row number 6 alongside PSO Karting's Mauricio Hernandez. Colin Warren got as high as the top 5, up as high as 3rd, I believe, in the pre-final today. He eventually was shuffled down to the edge of the top 10. He rolls off on the outside of row 5 to his inside, fellow Floridian Alonso kart driver Tyler McIntyre in the Motaz Sport machine. Then we get to our first 4 rows. Justin White, been pretty quiet this week here. Kept his nose clean through that pre-final. He rolls off 8th to his inside, Marian Kremers in that PSL Karting Bureau Art. And up to the first 3 rows, Wes Duchak. An up and down weekend yesterday. Blew a radiator hose in qualifying that got some water onto the racetrack, specifically a radiator hose clamp that leaked some fluids. Hurt his qualifying efforts, set his day behind. Today, a little bit better for him. Was in the top 10 most of that pre-final. He rolls off 6th. To his inside, yesterday's podium finisher, Nate Cicero. And now to your top 2 rows here. Cameron Weinberg was close throughout the pre-final on his Speed Concepts Racing CRG. He was up near the front. To his inside, Jeremy Fletcher on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart, who led so many laps in the pre-final. And your front row, the highest starting spot so far for the Speed Concepts Racing CRG driver this season in Paulie Massimino. He rolls to the outside of the pre-final winner and yesterday's main event winner, Hayden Jones.
Stellar lineup for our X30 Pro Senior classes. They work their way up I-70 straight, trying to get those tires warmed up, trying to get in position, trying to see us start the first time by. And we'll certainly be watching Diego Ramos and Ryan Norberg move from the rear of the field to the front. And will they have enough time to make a difference? Or will it be Hayden Jones, who's been strong all weekend, to maybe make it 2 in a row yesterday and today to take home the win?
Well, they all know what they have to do if they're going to treat Jones the way they did the rest of his teammates. They got to shuffle him back. He had enough speed to pull away in the pre-final. Can he do it again? X30 Pro Sunday main event is green down to turn one. Look at Jeremy Fletcher on the inside. He gets in the lead. Massimino gets knocked off the racetrack by his teammate. And they're all sideways and side by side through turn number three. Fletcher for the second race in a row to the point here as they go through turn number four.
Excellent move by Jeremy Fletcher. Jones kind of went wide a little bit to protect and set up for the corner, but as soon as he did, Fletcher was waiting for that move. He punched it, got to the inside, and had the line, and now Jeremy Fletcher, the early leader in X30 Pro. Great move by Jeremy Fletcher.
Nate Cicero into second. Mauricio Hernandez, I believe, with a great, or no, Martin Kremers with a great start into third, so he's right there at the front of the field. Jones in fourth. Weinberg is fifth. Tyler McIntyre side by side back behind him. Wes Duchek's gone by. Look at Marian Kremers down the inside on Nate Cicero. He'll take over second as Cicero drops back to P3. Looks back, sees his teammate. They're going to double team Marian Kremers. Kremers tries to close the door. Cicero tries to stay clean on the inside. He'll get help from Jones on the straightaway. Side by side for second. Cicero's in the dirt. Kremers keeps him low. And here they come for second. Cicero to second, Jones to third.
Through the top 10, Jeremy Fletcher leads. One lap in the books. Nate Cicero, Hayden Jones, Marion Kremers, and Cameron Weinberg, your top five, followed by Paulie Massimino, Justin White, Mauricio Hernandez, Colin Warren, and Albert Hodgson. That's your early running order, top 10. Quick check on Ryan Norberg. He's up to 19th. Diego Ramos up to 23rd.
Yeah, good run for Norberg here, picking up 6 spots already at the end of the first lap as Marian Kremers follows Hayden Jones and was about to stuff him there. You saw the wiggle in the braking zone. He wanted to get by him, but it kind of caught him off guard, and now here comes Cameron Weinberg to the bumper towards the green corner. Weinberg looking inside on Kremers. Kremers shuts the door. Side by side, they'll bang tires. Kremers holds the spot for P4.
Unbelievable racing out there already. You'd think this was for the last lap or 2 laps to go instead of the first or second lap in the race. But Jeremy Fletcher with a great start out there, now leading the way, not by much, as Nate Cicero has closed the gap, as has Hayden Jones, and teammates trying to close in and make the move. And here they come down the straight, 2 by 2 by Fletcher. It's Jones and Cicero, 1 and 2, and then Fletcher gets shuffled back to third.
Jeremy Fletcher trying to be aggressive here. Hayden Jones blocked the move in turn number 3. Nate Cicero, your leader. Fletcher trying to go on the inside in 4. He got Jones. Jones is off the racetrack. Yesterday's winner all the way wide in turn 4. And Nate Cicero with a big lead now as Cameron Weinberg inherits the second position.
Wow. We've got some real excitement out there. I'll tell you that, Xander. It is getting wild and woolly in this X30 Pro class. Nate Cicero, Jeremy Fletcher, Hayden Jones, and Jones, I believe, was the one that got out there in the grass. And so Fletcher back up to second. It's we knew it was going to get wild, and it already has. And we're only 2 laps in the book, 16 laps to go. A lot more in store. Let's get a quick check on Ryan Norberg. He's up to 17th, and Ramos 23rd. They haven't changed much from the first lap. Not much advancement there. So Nate Cicero had moved up 4 spots, but not many movers at the moment.
And now as they come down the front straightaway, Cicero with the lead. Jeremy Fletcher trying to work with Cameron Weinberg to get there. Marian Kremers back a little back and forth with Paulie Massimino. Massimino gets the spot again for the second time. Gets in front of Kremers. Kremers back to the edge of the top 5 with Justin White there. Colin Warren is there. Oliver Hodgson is in line as well as they go towards turn number 5.
Check again on Norberg and Ramos. No movement. Still 17th and 23rd. So they're not blasting through the field quite like we thought they would. You find out, honestly, in this X30 Pro field, whether you're first or 20th, you're still pretty doggone fast.
The times really stabilize here when the tires come in, and that's, I think, what Jeremy Fletcher and Cameron Weinberg are a little bit worried about. Weinberg was 0.2 quicker than Nate Cicero last time by. I believe they're reeling him back in here still a little bit. So Cameron Weinberg on that Speed Concepts Racing Speed Lab engine CRG trying to hunt down the AVP Rollison Performance Group Cosmic of Nate Cicero for the lead. On the way is Paulie Massimino. He looks as fast as he's been all weekend. And right now digging towards the rear bumper of Fletcher. Down the front straightaway. How close are they to Cicero? I think they're going to close up pretty well. Big time run for Weinberg and Fletcher. Massimino goes purple at a 105.95.
5-pack group leading the way. Cicero, Weinberg, Fletcher, Massimino, and Kremers as they work their way through turns 2 and 3. Cicero leading the way.
Oh, problems for Nate Cicero. Look at that. The right rear bumper bolt is broken on the 382. Nate Cicero has broken the right rear bumper bolt. That's going to be a meatball flag, and the drivers behind him know it. They're going to start racing for second because Nate Cicero leading out of the lead here with what was a golden opportunity has the bumper bolt fail, and this is going to change this race completely because all the drivers that have been dominant this weekend, Hayden Jones, Nate Cicero, Ryan Norberg, are outside of this lead group, although Jones is trying to get back there. Jeremy Fletcher realized it. He went through to second. Now Massimino goes to third, and Nate Cicero, you got to feel for him. He was hoping today would be the day. For a moment, it looked like that'd be the case. And as he comes onto the front straightaway, we'll see what the officials do. Now, there's a couple different ways the bumper rule can work if that bumper is starting to get loose, but it is. I think they're going to call him here probably next time by.
Wow, tough break for Nate Cicero, who had the lead, but now questionable on the mechanical end of it, whether or not he gets a meatball flag. If so, Jeremy Fletcher would inherit the lead. Right now, Fletcher runs second with Massimino, Weinberg, and Hayden Jones, your top five. Hayden Jones not out of the mix yet, especially if Cicero gets flagged off. Jones is still right there with a shot at the win.
Yeah, Hayden Jones still right there in fourth as Cameron Weinberg drops a tire out of the cell tower hairpin. He loses some ground. That'll cost him a lot of time. It'll open the door for Jones to maybe get a move done for fourth. You can see the bumper there on the 382 machine on the stream, headed out of the green corner, and there's Jones, gets by Weinberg. Weinberg now knows Kremers is going. Kremers going to force his way by, and Colin Warren will follow.
Up to 13th, Ryan Norberg advanced 12 positions, so he's making a charge. If they keep racing up front, he could make a mark and possibly close in on that lead group. Right now, he's got a little ways to go.
Still plenty of time here, and as they come down the front straightaway, Nate Cicero continues to lead. So no change there for the front runners. I think they're waiting to see what'll happen. But Jeremy Fletcher, Paulie Massimino, either way, they've run him down with the Dragon Reed bumper probably making a little bit of a performance difference because with that bumper dragging, it'll make that kart tend to oversteer. It'll get sideways in the middle of the corner. And here comes Fletcher for the lead. Turn 5. He's through. Jeremy Fletcher to the lead. Massimino around the outside will also get clear. And you look at the season Paulie Massimino has had. This would be a redemption overload for him to get back to victory lane. He's still never won a full main event at a Pro National in X30. He has come so close. He won the X30 shootout at the Miami Grands last year, the kind of unofficial all-star race, and he's had countless podiums and a lot of close calls, but he's yet to get that big win. Jeremy Fletcher would be looking for an X30 Pro win number 2. Won this year earlier at NOLA Motorsports Park with the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. Coincidentally, that weekend, Norberg crashed in the pre-final as well.
And meatball flag about to come out, so we could see it happen right here with Cicero. So what a tough break for Cicero, as good as he was running. But Fletcher leads the way, Massimino. And if indeed that was Cicero, then Hayden Jones will be brought up to third spot, Martin Kremers fourth, Warren fifth. And that would bring Ryan Norberg up into the top 10. Norberg on the charge.
Yeah, Norberg's up 15 spots already. There he is. Nate Cicero into the scale house early. An early exit, unfortunately, for the 382 RPG Cosmic. As up front, Jeremy Fletcher and Paulie Massimino have gotten away. Hayden Jones trying to hunt them back down. Marian Kremers is there in fourth. Colin Warren now fifth. Hodgson sixth. Weinberg seventh. McIntyre eighth. Norberg into ninth. 16 spots gained. He's got an outside shot at winning this thing from the back of the grid.
That would really be something. Norberg definitely on the move, and he's got plenty of laps left. We're 7 in. We still have 11 laps to go, 10 this time by. 8 laps in the books. It'll be 10 to go this time by. Massimino right there on Fletcher, about ready to pounce. But will he, or will he just stay in tow? Third spot, Hayden Jones closing back in. Fourth spot, Colin Warren and Oliver Hodgson. That's your top 5. Norberg up to 8th position. So Ryan Norberg, once again, getting a little bit closer, only 3 seconds off the lead. If they start racing up front, anything is possible.
Anything's possible, and Paulie Massimino knows it, so that's why he gave Jeremy Fletcher a big shot at the end of the front straightaway. But the pack's coming. Jones is coming, and I'll give Marian Kremers some credit. He's quicker than he's been all weekend, at least in comparison to the rest of the field. He's was the fastest of the top 4 drivers last time by. Norberg a little bit quicker than everybody by about a 1/10 of a second, but he's in the tow, was making a pass. Look at Jones. Catches Massimino by surprise, gets by him for second. So Hayden Jones up to P2. And now Jeremy Fletcher is going to have a challenge coming to the doorstep here. Hayden Jones already has a reason to maybe not run Jeremy Fletcher super clean. That was an aggressive move early in this main event. Jeremy Fletcher sticking the nose on Hayden Jones when he went by him in turn 4, sent Jones up the hill. Here they come down the front straightaway. Jones to the lead. Slingshot engage. Massimino going to go as well. He'll go into second.
So a double pass there by Jones and Massimino around Fletcher, and Kremers comes in right behind Fletcher for 4th, but could make a move around Fletcher as well. And Hayden Jones once again proves he may be the fastest driver on the racetrack. Had a bad start, as we know, fell all the way back to about 10th position. Slowly, very methodically worked his way back up to the front. And as they work their way back towards the cell tower corner, Hayden Jones now already with about a 4-kart length advantage over Paulie Massimino.
So Massimino making that move there. Here now it's going to be up to Jeremy Fletcher to push him to see if they can keep up with Hayden Jones. They've got to work together at this point in the race. Any pass they make right now for second, and I think they know it, which is why they aren't, is going to open the door of opportunity for Hayden Jones to get away. Marian Kremers is closing in on him as well with all this passing, and Norberg going purple back in the 8th spot. He's only 2.5 seconds away from the lead, so he's got a real shot at getting there. Down the front stretch, Fletcher pushing on Paulie Massimino. Down to turn 1, Massimino. Big shot to Hayden Jones into the first corner.
Can you imagine what Ryan Norberg is feeling right now? He looks up and he can see the leaders going, you know what? I started the back of this thing, and I got a shot at this, especially if they keep racing. That is nothing but motivation for Ryan Norberg. He's going to make a run at it, I really believe.
Yeah, Ryan Norberg. I joked with him a few races ago what it would take to get him to start from the back of one of these races and see. He said, well, if the purse money was a little bigger than what it took to win the weekend, I'd do it. As we see a pass for third, Marian Kremers goes by Jeremy Fletcher. Kremers really, really racy right now, and that gives Paulie Massimino some breathing room out back. Kremers up to third.
Great racing out there by all the drivers. As we got things settled in a little bit, it's been crazy, it's been aggressive, but this is the X30 Pro Final, and these guys are going for all the marbles out there as they can try to bring home a victory here at Newcastle as we wind down the Heartland Grand Prix. Franklin Motorsports bringing us our X30 Pro Senior class, and Hayden Jones trying to make it 2 wins in a row here at Newcastle, and right now head tucked behind the wheel into turn 1, about 3 kart lengths over Paulie Massimino.
Massimino super close there for that Speed Concepts Racing CRG. Only a couple races on the brand when he switched over to them mid-season. Jeremy Fletcher in the RPM Tony Kart back and forth. Looks decent, maybe not super quick, but he's quick enough to hang with them. Behind him, Colin Warren's coming into the mix. He just went with his best lap of the race, and Oliver Hodgson is 0.3 better than the race leaders. Hodgson started back in 12th, and the comp car drivers closing in.
Oliver Hodgson on the charge. Again, if they get racy up front, anything's possible behind them. Right now, Hayden Jones enjoying just a slight advantage over Massimino and Kremers. If he can keep that gap, it's his race to lose, but it's not much of a gap, and that gap can be closed with a little bit of drafting help with Massimino and Kremers. Jeremy Fletcher not quite having the strength he had early in the race. Colin Warren closing in on Fletcher. Hodgson, and not that far back, Ryan Norberg.
And look at that, Norberg just got by Colin Warren as Warren got driven wide by Oliver Hodgson. Colin Warren had been trying to hang on the outside a number of times here today, and he's paid the price for it multiple times over. Unfortunately, that time was just another casualty of Colin Warren trying to fight a pass and losing more than just that one position as he loses a couple spots in the process. Cameron Weinberg and Norberg getting by. Norberg now up to 6th from the back, 1.9 seconds back from Hayden Jones, the race leader.
19 positions advanced by Ryan Norberg on the charge, but he's got 6 laps to make the move. He's still just under 2 seconds back from the leaders, but anything is possible if Massimino and Jones start racing each other.
And now Marian Kremers goes through to second in the cell tower. So Marian Kremers gets up to P2. Massimino back to third. Jeremy Fletcher fourth. Here comes Hodgson. And so Hodgson on the comp cart. Kremers on the Burrell Art. Both of them starting to roll, coming out of the same factory, a little bit difference in the designs. Seems as though they've finally figured something out because Kremers last time by was a bit quicker than Hayden Jones, who continues to lead. And Norberg now getting up to the bumper of Hodgson. This will be a battle looming for the 5th spot down the front straightaway. We'll take a look at the gaps. Norberg from dead last on the grid up to 6th. Here he comes, looking inside. Not close enough to Hodgson there for P5.
0.330 2 laps ago, 0.618 this lap. Lost a little ground to Hayden Jones on that last lap. That's what Jones needs to see if he's going to win this thing. We'll have 4 laps to go next time by. Hayden Jones trying to hang on. Martin Kremers closing in.
Yeah, Marin Kremers just trying to get there here. He looks like he was maybe a little bit quicker than Massimino as Norberg closing into Oliver Hodgson with 4 laps remaining. Norberg looking for a podium. Again, he's trying to save himself also that overall weekend check because that's important again with the way everything fell yesterday. And now Norberg inside. He gets by for 5th on Hodgson. So Ryan Norberg now locking himself into the top 5. Great recovery drive here today for the series champ on record. His 7th career X30 Pro National Championship in the modern era. That's the most by any driver, active or retired on the circuit at the moment.
It's going to be difficult for him to do it today, though, as Hayden Jones looks really strong. And now to the inside, making the pass for second, Paulie Massimino. He's going to try to make one final run. It'll be 3 laps to go next time by, but 7/10 of a second gap, largest it's been in a while. Hayden Jones has things at the moment under control.
And Marian Kremers just went back by Massimino in turn 3, hopped behind the wheel, trying to get going. Unfortunately there, I think they both have given up hope of getting to Hayden Jones, and Ryan Norberg, thanks to the passing, is going to get closer. He'll be able to get onto the box at this point. Kremers out of the cell tower hairpin, hangs on to it. Paulie Massimino still 3rd. Fletcher 4th. Norberg closing in. Hodgson closing back in again as they exit the green corner.
And they exit the green corner now and head down towards scoreboard corner. And again, the racing going on is for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Fletcher trying to move up to 3rd. Here comes Norberg. He's trying to chase him down. They're all chasing Hayden Jones. They hit I-70 and head our direction one more time. It'll be 3 laps to go this time by for Hayden Jones. The gap still awfully strong for Hayden Jones. The battle rages on for 2nd. Jeremy Fletcher, the inside, makes the pass for 2nd. And it's Paulie Massimino. Kremers up to 3rd.
Massimino in 4th. Norberg looking for a way by. Not able to do it. Here they go through turn number 4, over the hill to 5. Fletcher again still 2nd, while Hayden Jones is beginning to run away. So this lead group here is for the battle for P2. Through the horseshoe, 2.5 laps to go. Into the hairpin here. Norberg's not close enough to make a dive on any of them just yet. So even though he's been quicker, holds the fastest lap of the race. Can't quite get there. Through the kink, Fletcher going to run the normal line. Norberg dive bombing Massimino. He's through for 4th. Ryan Norberg into the top 5, 1 step higher, 1 step closer to the podium. That next spot is held by Marian Kremers, and the two of them, again, they were in those shots we showed you before, got into it a little bit in that pre-final, so there could be some fireworks looming. And again, Jeremy Fletcher hanging on to 2nd. Hayden Jones still your leader. 2 to go this time by. Hayden Jones trying to go back-to-back. What a way to cap off his season, to cap off his year. The freshman in college, his 3rd X30 Pro season. Got a big-time win, his first win at the Newcastle track in X30 Pro yesterday, and now he might back that up here today with a lap and a half remaining.
What a run by Ryan Norberg up to 4th, and I think he feels like he's got a shot at 2nd. You know he's going to try, as he's got Fletcher in 2nd, Kremers in 3rd, and Norberg in 4th, right on the rear bumper of Kremers. He needs to make the move now to get into 3rd and then try to get by Fletcher, but checking out, and really at this point, it's his race to lose, and that is Hayden Jones. Now almost a 2.5-second gap over 2nd place Jeremy Fletcher. To the inside, Norberg couldn't quite make it, backed it out of there.
Yeah, Kremers shut the door on him. Norberg now has to block from Massimino, so he'll stay in 4th for the moment. White flag coming. Marian Kremers, it's been a struggle here this weekend. He'd love to get some hardware. A podium result would be stellar for Marian Kremers out of this I-70 corner here. Also, if the race stands the way it does, obviously the overall $5,000 check goes to Hayden Jones, but Norberg's fighting for money too. Jeremy Fletcher might end up ahead of him if Marian Kremers keeps playing blocker, because a 4th and a 2nd to a 2nd and a 3rd would go the way of Jeremy Fletcher on the overall points on the weekend.
Jeremy Fletcher with a little bit of a break there as Kremers and Norberg were racing each other, and that gave Fletcher a chance to gap them just a little bit. This is our final lap. And if they're going to make a move on Fletcher, they got to do it pretty quick because they're running out of time. And back to the front, Hayden Jones, we know, is going to take this one home if he can just roll around, almost coast around at this point as they head down around the green corner, up over the hill. And they'll see scoreboard corner here shortly. And it'll be just that last straight and turn at I-70, and then the pond straight down to the line for Hayden Jones. Jeremy Fletcher, a little bit of breathing room as we bring him home.
Final time through the I-70 corner. Hayden Jones had never won at this racetrack before in X30 competition. This weekend, he's going to win 2 times. Takes a look back. No problem. Hayden Jones sweeps the weekend. And look at this run to the line. Jeremy Fletcher finishes second. Marion Kremers third. Norberg fourth. Paulie Massimino holds off a hard-charging Oliver Hodgson at the end for fifth. Hodgson sixth. Jack Jeffers seventh. Colin Warren eighth. Cameron Weinberg in ninth. Donovan Bonilla from the back of the grid also in the shades of his mentor and teammate Ryan Norberg from the back to the top 10. We've got a lot of interviews here to chat with a number of our top finishers in this one. Hayden Jones, definitely one of them once again. But what a day of action here, Randy. We've got post-race interviews. You got podiums, but a couple closing thoughts, of course, on the weekend.
You know, it didn't disappoint. I knew coming in the U.S. Pro Kart Series is going to give me some great competition. It's going to give me some great racing. I loved working with you. Had a heck of a time keeping up with you. I don't know how you remember all this stuff, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of stuff going on these monitors. If you never sat behind these monitors live on Kart Chaser, you need to experience this because it's really something to see. But it is a handful to keep up with what's going on. You do a phenomenal job. Thanks for letting me join you this weekend, Xander. I had a blast.
Hey, man, it's been awesome for us there. And again, you can see the kudos there at the end. The X30 Pro drivers understood they're there to put on a show, and that's what it was there. Is for all of them is a few words going to all of them. Smiles all around this time, a lot different than that pre-final, and that's why they're the pros. They put on a great show. They go at it. The emotions fly a bit, but at the end of the day, a lot of shaking hands. Although Marion Kremers and Ryan Norberg might be a little bit of words back and forth to the two of them either way. Congratulations to Hayden Jones. Congrats to the USPKS champions, and including the 7-time now national champion, 2-time USPKS champion Ryan Norberg. A great drive there at the end. Post-race interviews are coming your way while we get set for more action from Newcastle. The championship award ceremonies for the top 5 in the championship standings coming here tonight. And yeah, a few more words to debrief of what's going on. We'll be right back after this.
Line has steadily made progress since its inception in October 2021. On top of servicing the Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana areas with products from Kart chassis, Tillotson Karts and Engines, Miami, Briggs, Honda, and more, they're now promoting race events as well throughout the Mid and Coastal South region at NOLA Motorsports Park and Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi. Races are already set for the fall of 2022. September 3rd, October 22nd, and November 12th at NOLA Motorsports Park, and 2 dates, September 10th and October 15th at Finish Line Performance Karting. Driver Line is set to finish this year strong. Greenemeyer is going to score the final win of the U.S. Pro Kart Series. Hayden Jones is a national race winner. Nate Cicero wins.
4-time champion Ryan Norberg winning Super Nationals 24.
Winner, winner, winner. Are you ready to join one of North America's winningest driver development programs? Rollison Performance Group offers fully customizable packages that are meant to take your game to the next level. For more information, head to rollisonperformancegroup.com. Looking for a top-level team environment that fits your budget? Look no further than AMAX Racing. We cater to customers around the country who want driver coaching, tuning assistance, hospitality, track support, and a family race environment. Our race schedule is support available at all levels, from club and regional series across the Midwest to top-tier events such as the TKA Grand Nationals, the U.S. Pro Kart Series, and the Scooter Pro Tour. Whatever level you may be at or want to get to, AMAX Racing can get you there.
Welcome back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park, and post-race interviews. Everyone's starting to work their way through scaling and post-race tech inspection. We'll send it down trackside here to David. He's caught up with a man who was just on the outside edge of the top 5, Oliver Hodgson, but a good run today. David?
Well, I know you guys were chasing it yesterday. It looked like you found a little bit of it. The field looked a heck of a lot closer today than it did on Saturday. Tell us a little bit about that process. Was it totally just because those RPG boys finally got split up, or what? Did you guys catch them a little bit?
Yeah, so we had a smoother run today with qualifying going better for us, and then the pre-final we blew a set of reads out, but there was so much carnage that we managed to maintain a reasonable position, and then finally just able to show what pace we had. Yes, we gained places because there was carnage, but at least we showed what the cut.
Boy, you had a much more consistent race than this Mike had right there, but no, it's not your fault. No, it's just a signal, as you know. But the a chaotic race like that, I mean, how often have you dealt with that in your career? Because, I mean, I think everybody looked at this going into it like this is going to be a disaster. It wasn't quite that. It wasn't quite as crazy as the pre-final was, but your mindset going into one of these things, how do you keep your nose clean?
I mean, just relying on instinct. And yeah, I'm used to pretty chaotic races. So yeah, it was run of the mill, and yeah, just rely on your instinct and look forwards down the track.
I think you're the only person who would ever describe that racing as run of the mill, but that's the.
Hey, watch Kart Masters back in England, and then it will look run of the mill.
Good. Hey, that's a good suggestion. Maybe we can get kart chasers on Kart Masters. Kart Masters, right? Yeah. Well, let's check. Come on, Xander, get on it.
That's a lot of work we got to do, David. Hey, but Oliver Hodgson, a good sport. Congrats to him on a good run. Like he said, hey, he's not wrong, David. I will say, you know, there is some aggressive racing that goes on across the pond in those X30 races. So that's Oliver's background. He knows how to navigate it. He also knows what the racing looks like over here. And it doesn't always look like that. Today, it did. And one driver who was definitely all around the craziness at the front of the field was Colin Warren. David?
All right, let's talk about this Sunday, because boy, oh boy, was it crazy. How crazy on the crazy scale was it for you?
It wasn't too bad. Like, there wasn't the chaos all happened in front of me, to be honest. I was watching it 15 cart lengths up the road, and yeah, they were going at it. There was carts flying everywhere. It was kind of a fun watch, honestly.
Well, I was about to say, first of all, you probably had the best seat in the house outside of our viewers on Kart Chaser, but second of all, I mean, that's got to be great as a driver to sit back there and just watch your opponents just take each other out one at a time. You know, outside of that, how was your race? I mean, how was the kart handling? Was it literally just the fact that everybody was running into each other that you were gaining spots, or were you able to do it on your own?
No, I improved a lot today, like kart setup wise, and going into the final there, I had relatively low air, but I still about halfway through the race overheated my right rear tire and was just kind of struggling with that, and then made a small mistake coming out of scoreboard. Is it scoreboard? Yeah. I don't know.
Dude, this is my first race here. You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I made a small mistake, dropped my left rear tire, got dirt on the tires, and then it was just hang on for 2 laps while my kart got grip back into it. But yeah, other than that, I was quite happy with the way the kart handled.
Now, you had a great idea for some off-season kart chaser content, and in particular, no, well, I did technically, but you were really enabling me on this. You know, the tempers are so high. Why don't we just have X30 Pro yoga? I mean, I think that would be pretty neat. I mean, right?
Yeah, I could definitely see a lot of shenanigans going on there. I mean, no one's gonna act, peaceful at all.
No one has to act peaceful today. I can't imagine how violent the yoga would be. Back to you, Xander.
Yeah, I don't know, but I like that idea, Dave. I must say, I mean, it something needs to happen. Maybe some Zen, just some feng shui, I think it's called, yoga, whatever it calls, to just get the emotions in check. There was a lot of aggression all the way through the field. This man's been at the helm of a little bit of it here so far. Marian Kremers, a podium at the U.S. Pro Kart Series here. David?
All right, yeah, P2 in class.
P3 overall.
Class race in here.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That's bad. That's naughty. Well, maybe not as naughty as it was in the previous race. I mean, how much contact did you have this time? Was it a little bit less than the pre-final?
I think I was clean. I didn't think I hit anybody. I was begging people to push me down the straight because of my gearing. I had really good bottom, but just no top end. So begging people to push me and like we could keep up. My pace was really good. If I had people pushing me, by myself was a little bit more difficult. I was just hoping for a little bit more fighting. And when Hayden got into the lead, he just cleared out, and then I tried to get to second. Jeremy got around me, and then I was just hanging on for dear life, trying to keep up Ryan.
Well, what about that choice on gear? I mean, was that a matter of kind of outthinking yourself? Were you trying to anticipate something? Did you just get it wrong?
A little bit of everything. We tried something else in the pre-final. We tried the other way in the pre-final, which I didn't really like. I thought I had more of a fighting chance with this way, especially with people defending and all that stuff. So I just want to get real good bottom and then hoping people would push me, which most of the time happens. So yeah, I got lucky there.
How's your yoga game?
It's been good.
Back to you, Xander.
There we go. Hey, Marian Kremers, like you said, and that was, I'm sure, a lot of drivers as well guesstimating on the gear ratio to prepare for a battle. And it was one early on, and then, like you said, it kind of came into more of just a raw pace kind of race as the race went on. Jeremy Fletcher up at the front, embroiled in the battle. David?
He just told me he was first in class. But so maybe the mic will work. So I've got to thank you because your two starts today really, I think, improved the show. And as an entertainer, I have to say that that's what I like to see. So tell us about that, because that was pretty. It took some stones to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did the same thing as Marian on the gear. Went up and expected the dogfight. Sadly, it didn't really go in our way as me and Marian ended up together, and neither of us had the straightaway. But I mean, it wasn't that crazy. It was pretty clean. Congrats to Hayden on the win, but just happy we got 2 podiums.
Now, the RG Bargy today, I mean, what was kind of your thought process on it? Did you think it maybe got a little too aggressive in that pre-final? And did you feel like it was right where it needed to be for the final?
We know the RPG guys have great pace. So, I mean, I just need to get in front, white line, and try to bring everybody else into it.
All right. So I got to ask you, yoga?
No.
Back to you, Xander.
Straight and forward answer there from Jeremy Fletcher. No yoga. Well, it also helps he's one of the youngest drivers in the field, so I'm sure in his case, he doesn't really need it as much. Speaking of youth, you can't really call him too much of a young talent anymore. 3 X30 Pro main event wins to his name, and 2 of them coming here this week with the weekend sweep. Hayden Jones now down with David.
Yeah, you broke the broom. Maybe you shouldn't have done that because you swept the weekend. Tell us about that, because that was pretty wild. Front, we had a penalty take away, what maybe have been a sure win for Nate. You capitalized on that. You came through the field a couple of times as things shuffled around. I mean, what was it from your seat?
I just got hit off track the one time, and then I knew I just needed to go forward. The pace was there, so I was just waiting for the cart to come in. And then once I got up to Nate, I saw his bumper was off, and they were giving him the meatball, and I was sad for him because, one, that's my teammate, and 2, he was up there, which would have gotten us probably 2 people on the podium. And so it just sucks for him that he wasn't able to finish the race up there.
So your kind of interpretation of the last 2 races, because it definitely was a lot different than we saw on Saturday. It looked like your competition really caught up and were able to really take the fight to you guys. Do you enjoy that, or do you want it to be a little easier?
I don't want it to be easier. Obviously, this is a very hard sport, and when they catch up, it's a lot more difficult because when they catch up, they also like to make it harder for us by passing us in, hard spots that make us lose a lot of time, and it's just very aggressive racing.
So, looking forward to the off season, what's your yoga game like? Do you need to do a little bit of oming about this race, or are you feeling pretty?
I'm feeling pretty good heading into the rest of the year.
So they tell me he's first in class. I think he's first overall too. Hayden Jones, weekend sweep here. Somebody find a broom, please.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll have to see if we can find one. Might be able to ask Hayden. Maybe you can tape that one back together and just scribble in marker over it out of Ryan Norberg and in for himself. So Hayden Jones ultimately a big time winner this weekend. He'll get the weekend sweep, cash that cool $5,000 purse for the weekend overall, and it puts himself as the vice champion in the second of the two regular season championships this year. To Ryan Norberg, of course, but the way how hot he's come on at the end of the season, I think there's no reason, like he said, to not have confidence going into the final events of the year. We're back for the X30 Pros when it comes to the IAME USA Grand National Championship in 3 weeks' time at Gopher Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. A lot of the U.S. Pro Kart Series crew you may see around the racetrack will be there helping put together that event with IAME USA East. That's the next on the pro calendar. The Texas Sprint Racing Series gets underway with night racing. And for the regional, amateur, and semi-pro crowd, that's up next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night at Speed Sports Racing Park in Houston. A week off for us after that, and then we move on to the Stars Championship Series finale at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati as well. For the X30 Pros, though, they get a little bit of downtime, a little time to think about their actions, maybe practice some yoga like David said, and as a whole, get ready for more racing action. So what a day it's been. Contact, controversy, everything you can think of, and a new winner in the X30 Pro class, a new double winner as well, and maybe a new streak to start the day. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching with us. We will see you guys next time and live on Kart Chaser in just a couple days.